Hello everyone and welcome to episode 1, season 2 of the Lightbringers podcast. We have new art, we have new everything. Welcome, I hope you're very, very good. Also have an amazing set of guests. We'll be talking about End of Dragons. It's the first season. We have amazing new art. They haven't even seen it as well. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a surprise for everyone. It's gonna be amazing. That's what it's gonna be. Hello everyone, together as a hello, I don't know. You want to say together? Hello? Hi.
Are we allowed to?
You can, you're allowed to now. Yeah, okay. You're wrong.
Hi.
Oh my god, it looks so good. Hi everybody.
It does look good.
In the middle there.
Our art looks amazing, but you look even better.
Oh, thanks.
Wink.
Yeah. I've been growing out my.
Yeah, Boots, you look really good today. I was
Thank
going to say the same. Yeah, you look really good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, Jeb, it's good to see you as well.
Oh, I've seen you for a while, like all of you. I'm just sitting here like 20 to 12. Oh god, where is everyone so I can set this up? Then I remember that everyone is very late all the time.
I need a shave. I haven't shaved since EoD got released, and I'm looking.
That's fine.
It's been so good, that's why you haven't shaved.
Exactly, I haven't had time.
Yeah. I too have been working on it, and I'm feeling pretty good about how the beard's going. As I stroke my fake beard hair.
It's a Witcher beard hairstyle.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
It goes well with that. You could keep it there with your classic, whatever that is called. I don't know what we call that.
I don't know. The thoughtful finger gun. I'm not sure what's happening there, but it is that's my trademark now.
You have to have dual
gun.
pistols, just like an NG and a thief.
Ooh.
Sorry if I'm distracted, everybody, but I am fishing.
We're going to talk about fishing. What we're going to do is today, we're going to actually talk about what we're going to be talking about. And we're back. It's been 2 weeks. I know you've missed us deeply and emotionally. And you're so happy to see us, hear us as well on Spotify, potentially in other places. But we've got lots to talk about. End of Dragons is here, released on 20th of February. We're going to go through kind of launch day stuff. We're also going to go through the launch trailer. We're going to talk about how we got into the expansion, how the experience was, what launch day was just like, the feels around it. Started End of Dragons, getting in there. We're going to talk about the first instance. We're also going to talk about the first map, as well as things like, the general fun times we had in that map and whether or not we enjoyed it. And we're going to talk about fishing. And well, there will be blowfish probably. We're also going to talk about fishing. We're not going to talk about skiffs. I know people really like skiffs. You're messaging me. You're saying, Jebro, I think skiffs should have their own podcast. No, they need to. And that's okay. I actually got a message I get messages about the podcast and like things we can discuss because I ask people, and I get DMs and stuff on Facebook and other places like, can you talk about, like, someone wanted to talk about the Bram fan fiction one day? For an entire show.
Can we?
I mean,
can we please? Because I would.
Read?
I would please. I beg of you. I need this.
You don't understand how many people apparently enjoy this.
We have a whole episode on Snarl Goldclaw, just like.
We could snargle. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm there for that. I've got screen. I think I spent the most time actually on that part of that map. So we can definitely talk about that. I've got some video footage as well. We can share. We're going to be sharing lots of footage as well. First of all, I want to say massive thank you to Gears to Gnomes, who's live in the chat, who has just made all of this art as well. Just sent it to me. It was like, Jebro, please. I want to do some art for the stuff. Here's some things. Here's all your characters. So the characters you see on your screen are all our actual characters in the game. They're not just 4 random characters. And if you know my stream, which is, you know that little Asura is mine. So you know it's true.
I picked one of my characters that seemed the most Lightbringer-y. Although, I should have done Mr. Fluffy Bottom.
Yeah, we're not going back. We're not going back.
We got some revisions.
I mean, I was saying before the cast that my favorite part about this is imagining Boots' character, who does look like so epic and so cool. And you're right, very Lightbringers-y, just like very good there. But you like come in and it's like super intense and epic, and there's like light shining on the armor, gleaming, and you like take the helmet off and it's just Boots under there. It's like,
and And
Hey,
I
I'm
heard you
fishing.
say that. I heard you say that while we were waiting to get set up here, and I took it as it's very comical. It's great. But what do you mean by just boots?
See, that's what I laughed at before, because you said just boots before pre-show, and I was like, I laughed and no one else did. And I was like, oh, maybe that's like an American way of putting it, as in like that complimentary. Because in England, you took the absolute Michael. So like,
Michael.
yeah, Mickey. You took the Mickey.
I just mean that, like, in certain, Boots 1, as we talked about at the start of stream, you do look, as always, beautiful, impeccable, radiant, gorgeous. So, again, it's not really just like a just Boots thing. It's just that, like, your energy is so relaxed.
Crystal X Paladin says there's an event NPC named Boots in Seitung.
Oh, cool.
Really?
What? No, I don't believe it. Show me this. Let's go find it right now, if that's the case.
I'll go find it. But no, this is not meant to diminish it. I just like the thought of like epic fantasy hero who just looks like so over the top and is so stylized, contrasted with like your incredibly chill vibe and your just like personable self, and you're just like so lovely and wonderful. I mean, you're the hero of my heart, Boots.
All right.
Unexpected
I
hero.
accept.
Yes.
I also love that we're all three guardians guarding Jebro's Sarah.
It's true.
You're all three. You're all guardians, aren't you? Yeah, I'm the engineer.
I made that little head cannon in my head. I was like, oh, we're protecting.
While I'm holding the light. Yeah, there you go. It's so good. It's so good. I'm just like, yeah. It just looks amazing. Okay, right. We're going to talk about the podcast again.
Oh, Mr. Bots. Yeah, that doesn't count.
Well, we can call him Boots in our heads. Maybe
just add a couple more O's and T's, and it's there.
Yeah, just one more O actually. More T's. No, one more T, one more O. Anyway, sorry. Blah. Okay, so launch day. That was the day. First of all, Rook did a fantastic, amazing job of doing the reading as well again, and like the work and the research, and what was that like? Because I mean, that's a lot. Just thinking about it in my brain, which is small this week. But
about the sound you made. Yeah, no, honestly, it was super fun.
Is it accurate?
It was. I mean, it was funny because when Arenanet first approached me about it, I mean, one, it was just really exciting. I am so grateful to the opportunity to do it because, my gosh, I mean, like it's been so fun to get to see the community and get to recap all this incredible story that's brought us here. But when they did approach me and they said, we want you to retell the entire story of Guild Wars 2, and I went, great. And how long? And they went 40 minutes, and I went, all of it? Like, do you mean without living seasons though? And they went, no, everything. And I went, and living season 1, you want that one in there too by any chance? And they were like, yeah, for everybody to all be on the same page. And I was like, great. I will do that. So many people have commented on the lack of air, that it seems like I did not have enough air intake because I was talking so fast for so long.
Not the lack of Bram's mother.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, air was in there because she's very important and
then
beautiful. Well, that was an important
That's the
moment.
lack of air right there.
Yeah. But it was like very intense. My like script, it is literally, I was timing each second or each segment down to the second for that. And then for the pre-show, we got to add a new 20-minute section that was all Canthan history. So honestly, I thought that was incredible because I've had even more context now, knowing what I already knew about Cantha, but the amount of stuff that they directly touched on in the expansion that like literally draws straight from the lore and from like even the stuff that we recapped in that about Cantha, it's unbelievable. Like the details are just through the roof in this expansion, even going all the way back to Guild Wars 1, and every zone has like these tiny little things to discover. So I was really glad I got to do it, and that is up on YouTube now. So if anybody wants to rewatch it, recap it, or just get that Cantha segment, it's up on my channel.
Yeah.
It was lovely to watch. I was in chat with everyone watching the pre-show, and I was like, oh my god, it's the Cantha section! This is new! And it was, the editing was really, really solid.
Okay, I agree.
I'm sorry, I feel very silly, but I feel very self-conscious about it, but I really appreciate it.
Well, because we're talking about you, and like we're trying to give you compliments. Don't worry, I get it, but you're going to get more from us, so you're just going to have to put up with that. Sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, you did a fantastic job. It was really, really good because we got to chill with our communities and watch it as well. We got to cheer you on from the background, which was really, really fun to do. I'm always happy to cheer people on, as we all are. And then it was like the perfect build-up because then we had this awesome. It was pre-recorded, which actually that was very different because normally we have them live, right? I actually think it was very good to do the pre-recorded live segment because I feel like, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, anyone right now, that's probably likely. But Rook did a fantastic job for what seemed like a long time, compared to then their pre-show, which I think was about the same time. So it's like Rook was on the same time as all the devs that have been on previous showcases. So it was about 2 hours in all, wasn't it? The pre-show. There was an hour for you and there was an hour for devs. Ruby was interviewing basically any dev that's pretty much been on any showcase leading up to End of Dragons. And they basically packed it all into an hour. And it was well done. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers the lead up to Guild Wars 2 launching and the kind of video style that they used. It was the dev with the kind of graphic behind them, the very, very cool, sketchy artwork. This is this was really well done and a big return to the original kind of Guild Wars 2 ethos and idea. I was getting Guild Wars 2 launch feels. I was like...
That's a good parallel.
I saw you.
I forgot about that.
Right? Exactly. Kriv, I saw you nodding. What were you nodding to specifically?
Just the whole format of the devs behind a green screen and the actual concept art, splash art behind them. Mm-hmm. It was not they were inside the art itself and they were a part of it. It had a really nice touch to it and a feel. It was extremely stylized and felt this is Guild Wars 2. So as you said, they kind of returned to that and it's we're gonna return back to the things that we were known for and really made us an interesting entertainment section.
Exactly, yeah, that's it, and that's the feeling I got as well. I don't know what Rook and Boots. What did you think about that kind of different way of doing it, doing a pre-recorded kind of dev interview almost as a pre-show?
I was at work the whole day.
Oh. Have you not even got to watch it? Just to watch it?
No, I was playing EoD instead.
That's fair.
You should have.
That's fine, I guess.
I mean, I really liked it. Yeah, no, like you said, I think it was really nice. It was really polished. It did exactly what they wanted it to do. And you get that luxury from being able to script it and record it ahead of time. And honestly, although it wasn't, again, there was anything so massively revolutionary during it, except for the launch trailer that we did get, which was unbelievable. So good. It just felt like such a wholesome, recounting of just getting us here and where we are and the work that went into this expansion and the people and the faces that have been a part of it. And I think that so many of us have even seen in game, and constantly patching stuff or around on streams. They care so much about this expansion. And you can just tell that that investment from the devs in what they've created and that love of what they're doing in this game, it's just so real. And that to me was the most impactful part. I loved hearing them talk about it, but I just love seeing them, and it was so polished. It was really well done.
I mean, I do follow a bunch of devs for Guild Wars 2 on Twitter, and I was able to I'm able to get that feeling off of them. Obviously, they're so excited about the things they released. They're so excited about everything they've been doing, and for some of it, you get some interesting lore tidbits in there too. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys follow Connor on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're allowed to go into that just yet because we're only talking about the first map.
We're not talking about it. Yeah, we've got loads. I think what I want to hold things on just because of people as well. Getting there. I'm not sure how far people have got in the story and everything, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I do want to quickly remind everyone in chat. Spoilers wise, we are not talking about story past getting into the first map and maybe fishing. So please, if you can, hold on to any spoilers. Also, there are people on the podcast who have
is fishing a spoiler?
No. Well, fishing you get from the story or you can get it from a vendor.
Everybody, we didn't want to spoil for you today that the real secret ending of Guild Wars 2 and Dead of Dragons is actually found and unlocked through fishing, but it is. So we'll probably skip straight to that today and just talk about that.
It's just a fishing tournament. The fate of the world hangs in the balance on how many salmon you catch.
Fishing tournaments are important, so, you know.
A real secret ending. Oh, Kasuzev.
Kasu in the chat, bring in the puns.
But yes, we don't talk about endings. Also, there are people in the podcast who have not finished it yet as well. So I would appreciate if you please.
I wonder who that might be.
No spoilers. We're not telling anyone.
Big fan. Just kidding.
Oh my god. Oh, why do I do this show? I quit. This is the first one. This is the first episode. The first and last episode of season 2. The Lightbringers.
I don't know what shamed me more. Kroof calling me out. Kroof then telling me that they're a big fan of mine, or Kroof then saying just kidding to that. So I feel like I've gotten a little bit of the
I thought just kidding
energy.
I thought the just kidding was because Kroof was saying sarcastically that you're a big fan of the game, even though you didn't complete the storyline.
That was the joke.
I see.
It was Joko.
Okay. Thank you for explaining. Thank you. Thank you. We can continue now.
A joke is 10 times funnier when you break it down.
Yeah, when you keep talking about it and try and tell people why it's funny, especially when you're the one who said it, it gets even more hilarious. That's true.
Thank you for breaking down the joke mechanics for me so that I understand what just happened and I can respond more flexibly in the future.
Okay. I'm glad we're here together. My life. The first, actually, let's talk. Rook mentioned the trailer, right? I think we should talk about the trailer. I feel like that's a good intro into talking about the game generally as well. Also, prepare yourself for a brand new screen. Just saying, there's another one. Ooh. We've got many. Whee!
So many screens.
There is. There's another one. Look at it.
Another one.
Ooh.
I've got to adjust people's faces.
The delay.
The delay, the excitement and joy. It might be a little bit off in places because I had to do this. Oh god, I just moved it completely.
Well, it looked really good until you started moving it.
I know, right? What happened there? I forgot to lock it. You got to do that.
I'll be right back.
Wait, you're gonna be right back? Oh god. Oh my god, we saw your wife. Amazing.
The dramatic reveal.
Boots knows people.
Oh, this does look nice. New screens.
Yeah, what do we think? People in the chat as well. I love it. I'm just before saying the Boots. Boots has probably seen the trailer, right? We're gonna play the trailer, I guess.
Wow, this is a spoiler, Jebro.
I'm so paranoid about spoilers and releasing them.
It's not. You're good. This trailer is amazing. We should definitely put our eyeballs on it.
Okay, we're gonna watch it. Boom.
In hundreds of years, we have seen so much change. The Elder Dragon's lust for magic is unsustainable, bringing a new season of transformation and conflict. Mortals forge new powers greater than themselves. My only fear is the consequences such creations may bring. The future still has yet to be written, but time is running out. Will you forever take your place in Tyria's history?
It's so good. It's so
back.
good.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Have you
the
seen the trailer, Boots?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, okay, good. It's going to be repeating in the background as well, so if you do want to just remind yourself while it's kind of going.
About the trailer, I was like, I mean, I don't know much about like trailer releases and how they're supposed to be done. Whether it's a launch trailer, right?
Yep, that's the launch trailer. Yeah.
And that's a thing that happens a lot, right? Where a trailer for something is released at the launch date, not before it?
At launch or close to, yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's specific. Because you can have... So we had game feature trailers before, and we've had, like, story trailers. Like, games just do it differently. They have, like, launch trailers. Sometimes launch trailers can be, like, months and months ahead, like, before as well. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Guild Wars 2 normally does, like, a launch trailer very close.
It's just it's the best trailer we've ever gotten for the game, I think. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
Leagues. By
Heart of
leagues.
Thorns comes close-ish to it. I do like the Heart of Thorns ad. That was very good. With Ritlock and Mordremoth, like, you know, like that was good. But this is a... Can you tell me why, Boots, you think that specifically?
Because it's fantastic.
I mean, why? What is it that... Is it like pacing? Is it graphics? Is it artwork?
It's because usually when we have trailers, they are... Most of the time they are featuring the in-game graphics, featuring the in-game engine, and then they obviously, you know, have their own way of filming that only they have, which is good, and they have ways of, like, you know, in some cases making the characters do things that you wouldn't be able to do normally. But that has its limitations, right? And this is done by a professional studio, I'm assuming, that doesn't have those limitations and has a fantastic art style. I think it's the same studio that did Arcane, right?
It looks very similar.
I did get those Arcane feels. I haven't seen Arcane, but I've seen like the promos for it, and it definitely was like, is this? Yeah, I mean, I don't know actually. That might be. I don't know if anyone in chat can confirm, but that might actually be.
Yeah, and even the non-in-game engine trailers we've had in the past were done in the old, you know, the old launch style, stylistic, artistic.
Yeah.
You know, 2D graphics kind of. And those are great, but there's just something, you know, this kind of adds a cinematic quality to it. Also adds sort of like a more standard for the industry kind of feel to it, like something that so showing that Guild Wars 2 kind of belongs with the big boys in the industry with it.
It's wider appeal, right? Is what you're kind of saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'll still have those people going, showing the picture, here is the trailer and here's the in-game, and it doesn't match, but
but this is so far removed from it that people, if they want to really do that, then if people are doing that now, then they're just silly, you know. I think you know that because we can just do so much. And also you're dead on, like the appeal, that's the thing, right? Because this is the thing we talk about with marketing for Guild Wars 2 a lot. And I think it actually it does start with a trailer, really. Like you say, like the production level sends like even an unconscious message to people. If your trailer's not great, what's the game going to be like? Like that's the first thing people are going to see. And sure, there are great games where the trailers aren't fantastic and people get that message. But Guild Wars 2's message at the moment isn't really massively out there for many gamers to enjoy, as we were talking about pre-show as well. We'll continue to talk about as we hopefully watch these new changes emerge in terms of their marketing and reach to people outside. But this trailer is absolutely diamond. You're right.
Fantastic.
You're right.
And the reason why I asked about whether or not launch trailers are usually put out at launch day is because, like, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking that trailers should be released before the game to bring hype towards the release, let people know when to buy it, rather than I was supposed to buy it 2 days ago, I only just saw this trailer, kind of thing. But this makes me think that this trailer is so good that they're going to be using this trailer as much as possible in the future for promotion. And I have a feeling that it's going to be used specifically as like the main trailer for the Steam release, if the Steam release ever comes, you know, like, you know, when you go to the page of a game, the store in Steam, you have like different trailers. This will be the prime one, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
great trailer for that.
we've already seen this, which has been so exciting. I don't know if any of you have noticed this. It's been all over Twitch. I've seen this playing on a ton of channels, and specifically MMO channels. And it just makes me so happy to see it because, I mean, like we were saying, there's a big separation here, but like specifically so, almost every game has some kind of cinematic trailer that, again, is not just in your in-game engine, but is like actually something that is more animated, orchestrated. It's meant to give you in one very short swoop a huge amount of information about the vibe, the feel, the characters, the tone, right? So of course, pushing it further in that artistic way makes absolute sense for me. And the details in this, I mean, everything from the landscapes they realize, they even said it in this nighttime, which they've mentioned that they really, really love showing that about Kaining, and like the way the lights and the Jade looks, the characters, the Jade mechs, the technology, the 2 new classes, the new elite specs that are featured in it. It's honestly just so great because I think it gives you a lot in this one moment. And like we were saying, it is everywhere and it has been everywhere. And I kind of had a moment too, Boots, where I was thinking, oh, I wish maybe this had been the first thing we'd seen, or, you know, but at the same time, I do feel like it's doing so much work now, and like given so many other things that we've seen or experienced in the expansion, even those other trailers, I keep going back and like watching them and really finding more and more in them. But this was a huge step, and this is a gorgeous little piece of a glimpse into Guild Wars 2 that I think many people are going to be taken in by.
Agreed. And I'd just like to say also, as a side note, they're showing the nighttime in Kaining City. You know what I would appreciate? If there was a shader, like a, you know, I don't know, some sort of outsourced shader that would make it so that nighttime is that dark in Kaining City.
You probably can mess around a little bit and like G-shade and reshade and increase the darkness a little bit.
You definitely could.
I've made some of those filters. But I like this one when I compare it to the other CGI trailer that released during the first look. That one was not as marketable because it was extremely tailored to the story. So if you didn't really know the story, there wasn't much reason to engage with the trailer other than like a visual level. You're like, oh, it's pretty, it's cool. This one, it has fairly broad aspects within its narration about the story, so it gives you that. But it actually shows action. There's a decent action sequence. And we talk about how the graphics might not necessarily resemble the in-game graphics, but the action in this trailer does resemble the action that you have in Guild Wars 2.
That is true.
There is some animations. The Mechanist one specifically is like he does the point, they do the thing with the hand, like, which is exactly what your engineer is doing on all animations. It's like that, and then the Mechanist came down. I connected with that as an engineer player. I was like, yes, you bring that flipping mech down. My almost first swear verse in the
You gotta have a cupcake when it happens.
Yeah, I know. I've got Reese's Pieces and Kit Kat, so sponsored. Not sponsored yet.
I will say though, if you don't know anything about the game, about what a Mechanist is and stuff like that,
there isn't.
You probably don't know that he's summoning a mech.
True.
It just looks like another bad guy.
But it's nice. It is nice to kind of have that, I think, as a player, because I think you can always, like, you know, throw to, because trailers have to appeal to new players, they have to appeal to a new audience, but I think mostly, obviously, they have to like appeal to a veteran, your audience, your core audience who are already there, and also people who are coming back, and they can be like, oh, that's cool. But the trailer itself, like, I really like the art style. I like the fact that, like Rook said, you know, you've got 2 elite specializations in there. You've got Mechanist and you've got the Bladesworn as well, who are 2 of them, you know, they've got pretty big parts in Ender Dragons. I'm not going to say how much because spoilers. But they really do show off the Jade tech very well, like the whole theme of it, and especially at the end with the ominous eyes and mouth that you see. As well, like it just really builds up, and it's very, very tiny area that this thing just kind of takes part in. It's just so well done. Like it's really good, and it was good to build up, especially like Ruby said, like the gates of Camphor are open, and then they played the trailer, and then you could pretty much then we were just waiting for the new login screen, and then the new login screen came on. It's just like, oh, I should have got video of it.
It's true. It really doesn't.
So
It doesn't spoil anything at all of the story.
Mm-mm.
The
And the
trailer
hype
doesn't
was so real. Like, it was so real. It's one of those things where we've all been through a lot of MMO launches, right? And I literally can't think of another one where we had a live stream event like this. They play this trailer. Ruby says the gates are open. And literally people right then, right there, live, real time, were like, in the chat, the stream had ended, and they're still just typing in the chat, like, the new launcher is amazing. Oh, I'm logging in right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got in. And so much you have, I mean, the patch can take a million years for many games. Maintenance time, it might have been down all night. When you actually are able to get in for many MMOs, the queue, like, oh my gosh, I love 14 as well. You all know this. But we just had, for many reasons, but we just had one of the worst queue time launches we have ever had for Endwalker. And it was like, literally, I was having to log my partner in 8 to 10 hours before they would be done with work, just to hope that we could get them into the game and that they wouldn't get kicked and tossed out of queue and then have to do another 8 to 10 hours. So the fact that everybody was there live in that moment, the servers went up, and we all literally stepped into the game together is such a huge feat that I think a lot of people won't even be thinking about with this release. But like, it's unheard of in most other games that you would literally be like, they're like, and now this minute it's open and you can go in and play it. I mean, it's just so cool.
Smooth as silk.
It was smooth as silk. I'm trying to see if I can find the. I just want to find with this. I'm going to show some footage from my gameplay specifically because that makes sense. And we'll try and get some of yours in future actually as we look at the different things we're kind of going into. And there is an important conversation to have about why we think that it was easier for Guild Wars 2 to have such a smooth launch, and I think it's a good and important conversation, but I don't want to have that right now. I'm going to continue with the hype and enjoyment because I think there's still a lot to say about that and the reasons behind that as well. So we basically have, I'm restoring something so I can show you basically something as well video wise, which is why I'm stalling a bit. So we're in the gates. We've got the gates of Camphor open. Ruby's like, yeah, go, get in there, okay? Like Rook said, perfect. We got in pretty damn quickly. How easy, and this might be just because sometimes I'm a bit spacey, okay? Sometimes I'm a little bit like, what? Where do I go? Like, what do I do? You've got this hype, you've got this enjoyment. You get into Guild Wars 2. How do you get to End of Dragons? What was the first thing you did? Like what? Because I can tell you what I did, because I didn't know where to go, how to start the expansion. I was like, what am I doing? Like, where am I going right now? Because I was in the Eye of the North. I was at the portal for strikes at Eye of the North, and I was like, I can't remember how to start the expansion. Like, I can't remember how to start a new story. I was just like, where do I go? And I was a little bit lost. But then I started to think, okay, well, what if a new player comes in? What if a person who just comes into Guild Wars 2, they want to start End of Dragons, how do they know what to do? How do they know where to go? And it was actually a really important experience to have because I feel like that was like a really big disconnect. And I'm not sure if it's because my client already knows I've been playing for so long, so I maybe don't get a specific pop-up. I don't think I got a mail or anything. I don't think I got anything. I just got I just went to go and start the normal story the way you do. So that was a tiny bit of a I feel like I'm being negative. I'm not being negative, just FYI. I think it's important to always think about new players, especially with Guild Wars 2 right now. But I just wonder how everyone's experience was. Like starting, I was excited and I got there in the end and I didn't really care that much. But I think it's still worth thinking about as well, holding it in the background kind of.
I do not fault you. It has been some time since we got another story release, but with Living World, there usually is like a side little starburst pop-up that you have to click and it says you've unlocked the chapter. The difference with expansions, and particularly with expansions, it has been a 4-year gap. So there is that like, oh, I haven't done this in 4 years. How do I'm not seeing a pop-up or anything. And I think I also had like a brief like 30 seconds where I'm like, I'm not getting a mail. And so I think instinctively I just went to the journal tab because that's where story is located. So I just was like, oh yeah, I guess I have to activate the story without getting a pop-up. And then I got the mail, I got the dialogue and everything. So I guess it was a little, there could have been a slight moment of like, I forgot how to do this.
Yeah, well, actually, in the chat, and as I remember watching some new people playing the game, and actually, interestingly enough, like during the Crown stream, which was really, really good, I love those streams, and we're all there as well, there is a slight disconnect for many people who got sponsored to come in and join. I'm really trying to not make this sound negative. It's not negative, it's just a learning experience. There was, like, you saw big streamers having trouble getting into this new content, and they were excited, like good stuff, and they got there in the end. And I just wonder, is that experience something we can maybe give feedback on to try and help and improve? And I don't know what the answer is. It's just a thing to think. We're talking about all experiences, but yeah, Rook is burning to reply.
No, it's just, I do agree with you in a sense, right? I mean, it's easy for a lot of us to just be like, well, yeah, you just go look in your story journal. Like, you just go in there.
I felt silly, honestly, on the day.
Well, no, but I mean, it is one of those things where even thinking back as a new player, I had a lot of that experience too. I remember when I first got through the core game and then I was like, and what's next? And then I was looking and I found like a portal. And then somebody said, that takes you to Heart of Thorns. And I was like, the expansion? And it's one of those things where
exactly, that's it though. That's exactly it.
It is kind of hard to tell. And the thing with Guild Wars 2 that I love is the fact that although it is a linear narrative, again, they allow you freedom to explore that. Even more so having gone, and I'm still working on some of the Return to achievements, and I was blown away recently just by the fact that, like, here I am in this new expansion, and I'm popping back to do this quest, and I'm starting this, and I'm doing this chapter, and then I go back here, and, like, so many things as you work through it, it'll save your progress in certain stories, and then, like, it is a system that is more flexible than any other, but Jeb, I do agree with you in that I think there's a way to create an interface that tells you that at some point, like whether that's the first time you get through the core game and finish that last mission, something comes up and it says like, here's your story hub. It can be found in blank. And, you can start any of these chapters. Or when we got in for the new expansion, it would have been nice because, again, I knew where to go eventually, but I did have that moment too where I sat there like, and I was waiting for Aurene to say something, and then like nothing happened, and I went.
That was exactly it. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'll go to my journal.
My friend texted me. He said, "So I bought the expansion and I was gonna play last night, but then I don't know how to start it."
Really?
Yeah. Well,
wow, that's interesting.
He hadn't played since Path of Fire, but like 3-4 years since then. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a really, really valuable bit of information. I know that devs watch this. So again, it's not about us like pointing out negative parts. It's about those little things that are just so important, and they can just put a little bit of like, I kind of wish that was there in your head. But there was many different moments which way outweigh that later on, which are good. But that's really good information, like new player, people mentioning, talking about their experiences in chat, and then probably people listening at home thinking, what the hell are you talking about, Jebro? Come on, mate. But like, that's okay. I am who I am sometimes, and that's
Caster pointing out that during Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns there might have actually been an indicator above the map, and I kind of also remember that. So I think with the other expansions there's usually like a shaky green little thing, a shaky like dragon icon with like the Path of Fire text on it, and you click it and it has like this really cool, like Path of Fire had like the red and the crystals jacking out. It's like click on your like view journal. So I think that's maybe just something that was missed for End of Dragons.
So that's there if you haven't bought it yet or bought it yet.
I think also was when you
but
like
it was
launched
also when you bought it. So when during
no, but I mean for End of Dragons. I'm talking about for End of Dragons.
Yeah.
For End of Dragon, it's only there for when you haven't bought it to tell you to go to the store to buy it.
Oh right, okay. So maybe it's just like a.
I could have sworn that when you load up the first time and it'll also tell you.
Yeah, no, I think there has been in the past.
even if it is something where whenever you get content added, there was just that window. Like you said, we see that with like the living season stuff and things like that, like unlocked or this thing, yes, having that little thing there that was like when you logged in and that had been added to your account and it was your first time starting the game since you got that, even just having that pop up and be like, you've unlocked the new story chapter or whatever. Yeah. It's a tiny thing, but like you said, it is something where I think, to have that hype straight from the stream, you're like so excited, you log in, you go in, and then yes, for players who might not know what's happening, I could see how that could be a stumbling block. I mean, for me, myself playing, I figured it out quick and immediately jumped into it, and I think the rest of the story just speaks for itself. It's phenomenal. It's so good, but you want to know very clearly how you are supposed to progress through at least that much, how you're supposed to get that open and to feel that hype even when you log in and it's just like new expansion.
Well, that's the login screen for me.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh,
that login screen
good.
is
I've just
so
left it
good
for a while,
And
like
it
if I'm
moves,
doing work on the side.
the art moves as your cursor moves, like in the character select, but no other launch screen ever did that. It's such a nice touch.
It is stunning.
So true. Yeah.
The music too, like you log in, you see this gorgeous backdrop, the music hits you. I mean, I think I just sat there staring at the screen and like I'd even glimpsed it in the preview, although we weren't allowed to share it at that point, which was agony.
You knew?
Yes, they should. But we couldn't share anything. So like, it was just like we had just logged on, but it was so gorgeous, and to actually just like be immersed in it is just, oh, it's just so good. I was so ready for a new login screen.
I think it's been a long time, right? Ender Dragons, and you've still got the sandy kind of background, and then we've been through like Ice Brute Saga, and it's like ice, and it's just different. There should have been a different background, probably, and there should have been a theme change. There definitely was a little bit of a bring us into the current times kind of thing.
Moves with your mouse. I'm doing it now.
Oh, Boots is experimenting.
Oh, okay. I don't think I actually noticed. Yeah, I've got to go. I want to go do that as well. Okay, so the reason why I'm being a little bit slow in times and stuff at the moment is because I'm trying to bring something in, and I've had an experience because apparently Firefox doesn't want to work. Good lord, I dislike you strongly. Okay, so logging. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Chris?
And I oop.
And you oop?
That's all I wanted to say.
Oh,
perfect.
Okay.
There it is. Point
so
made.
we all needed to hear.
Made.
I'm very glad for you. Okay.
Astute.
So you've clicked the story thingamajig. You're in there. You start talking to Gorik and start talking to Timey. And they say, you've got to go to this. I'm not going to say every detail of the story because I don't think it's important. I think we're going to have more of a specific story stream, I guess. But basically you end up in, what's the first map in terms of instance, other than Eye of the North? You're talking to Timey and Gorik, and you go to see Anka.
Isn't it Lorna's Pass?
Lorna's Pass. Yeah,
which was surprising to me. I was like, why are we going to Lorna's Pass?
Oh, that's the thing. I mean, did anyone think about the fact that, how are we going to end up in Camphor? Like, how is this going to, because there was no... I didn't
think about that because we saw airships in like the trailers.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason we know we're going to Camphor is because they told us. But unlike the trailer, like you say, we don't know why. We didn't know like specifically. We did see like crashes and stuff, but I guess we didn't know how we ended up there. Like, right, like because the Aether Blades went there, but how did we end up there? I thought this whole instance was really good. Really good. Does someone want to tell me, like, first of all, why do we end up going to meet Anka? Because I can't remember. Like, I know she calls us.
To go on a date.
Yeah, right. That was the
that might
basic
be part
it.
of it.
That was basically it.
Dragon. They need some dragon data. They need some dragon research because there are big dragons on Tyria, and it's not so great. So Anka's like, "Hey, Gorik, how you doing? I have some information for you." And Gorik is like, "Ooh, hi, Anka." And they're like, "Let's go to Lorna's Pass." And so they go there, and things do not turn out the way that it seemed.
Do you know what Gorik did to Anka in the past? Because like
No?
he keeps on referring to sorry for what I did, and then also sorry for not talking to you for 10 years.
I think it's a reference to the fact that Anka and Goric worked together at the Thomanova power reactor, which was like this big facility where they were researching, the ley lines, draconic energy, right? But that blew up and like caused this huge thing. And we learned through some of like the additional stuff later that Anka was kind of like salvaged out of that by the Aether Blades and Mai Trin, who also came through the facility. And like during all of that chaos got her out. Whereas I think Goric may have like when he left the facility, right? I think he just did not actually stay in touch with her or like try to follow up or find her after the explosion. I think that's what they were referencing.
Was it the inquest? Was that the inquest who were doing that work? Because they were in the inquest together, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the inquest, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Goric like escaped and like left her for dead.
I actually thought it was
That's what I thought,
I
yeah.
actually thought it was a relationship thing that they had and that Anka kind of denied him, right? Like fully, but that's it then, isn't it? Like Anka like basically probably didn't carry on. Maybe, I don't know. I thought that's what it was, wasn't it?
Well, I got the sense that like Goric didn't pick up on it or something, and that like it was like over his head, and she had been like really, really enamored of him and had really liked him, and then when all of this stuff happened, like obviously he and his brother left the inquest, and eventually started helping with the other stuff here with the dragons. But I think that because he never went back to like try and follow up with her or like ever actually came through on those feelings. That's where I got the resentment feeling.
Yeah,
That's where
exactly.
I got it.
That's it. Yeah. That makes sense. Cool. Okay. Good. Yeah, it was. There was all this expansion was a lot about relationships, very much relationship and based friendships, love, all the relationships, different types as well. And actual ships. Yeah, actual ships.
And many ships online. Go to Twitter. It's a fun time.
This is a super cool note from chat that has just been going by. Apparently, they added both Anka and Goric to the Thomanova power reactor in the Fractal. That's such a cool detail.
Wait, really? Oh,
yeah,
no
they
way.
retroactively went back, and you can see like Anka and Goric like on the floor, like cowering, trying to tend to themselves.
No way! I kind of want to go play that right now. Okay, so I actually forgot about something as well.
Jebro, how dare you?
So important. Before we even get to I really wanted to show it. Before we even get to go there, they showed the little trailer that we saw before. Do you remember when I said they need to play this trailer first before we even go anywhere? Like the story thus far, they played the story thus far. And on my stream, I was literally like, I swear, I was like fist pump in the air. I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
That is helpful. It was helpful. My wife got back. She got the expansion now too, and she's getting back into it. And and she definitely appreciated the sum up.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I'm glad that was there for her.
And she started getting teary-eyed when she opened up her mail and saw 6th birthday, 7th birthday, 8th birthday, 9th birthday. And she was like, oh, I've abandoned my poor character.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Like, not
that's so
cool.
sweet.
They felt bad, but like, but the fact that information was there, like, probably really improved the game experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've even been able to tell people, like, I have people asking me, can I jump to the new stuff? And it's funny because, I always tell them, if you care about story, I mean, it is a linear story. So, like, you will need to play through the story if you want to really have that context. But I've also been able to really freely say to people, like, you can go straight here. It'll even give you this little story recap. It'll even show you this little thing, which is it going to be everything and every detail you would need to know to fully get the breadth of End of Dragons? No. But like, is it at least going to tell you what's happening so you know what's going on when you get in there? Yes, you're fine. Like, so I was really glad they did that too, Jeb. I thought it really creates something where I can tell people like, hey, yeah, you can jump straight to this. You can get into it. And considering just how phenomenal this expansion has been, I mean, honestly, I feel pretty good about saying to people like, go and play this one, and then if you love it, play everything else. Like, which is rare.
Yeah.
It's rare to be able to say that, but it's the truth. I mean, I think the game is really just shining. Even in this first instance that we were talking about, it's so fun. It's so dynamic. I love the platforms. I love the combat. I love Aurene flying through the sky. I mean, it's such an exciting way to start the X pack.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Oh, thank you for that picture. Yes, I will try and
This
see
is
that.
really the hook that can get a lot of new players playing, because the story experience is just really great. It's super detailed and very well executed. And as Rook, you were saying, I've been also felt more comfortable saying, like, yeah, this is a game where they are doing a good job at bringing people up to speed. So I would recommend going in and playing it with everyone to experience that culture as well, and that community aspect, because that's also something that can really make a player's experience with an MMO in particular. Because you might want to go and play these expansions, but there might not be a lot of people in those maps or playing it, so you might not really feel that sense of community. But when you're playing something more current, more modern, you can be part of the active discussion and really kind of like find where you enjoy the people and where you sit in the community. So I would recommend it, even if you are a newer player.
I will say that my favorite part of the first mission was being in the jail cell with Goric. And did you know that?
You're talking about like you're talking about past the instance. You're talking about past the actual like main bits.
It's still the
This
first.
is like
still the
Aether
first.
Blades,
Yeah, but the
but
Aether Blades is
prison.
the main bit. You're just like, yeah, we saw Anka, then we went to prison. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's how you keep a recap spoiler free.
I
You
mean,
have no sense of anywhere.
That's true. We can skip a ton of content. I mean, wait, can you hold on to that for a bit?
We'll
Is that all right?
see.
Okay. I want
She's like, I'm
to
holding on.
I want to go into a little bit of an order, and we don't have to talk about specifics about the instance leading up to that point, and that is a very good part of the
No,
the
Jebro,
story as
I
well.
want to talk about jumping to each individual platform and to really get into the minutia of the platforms going on.
That is a great word. Thank you for using that. I haven't heard that word for a long time. The snippets, I appreciate it. So we had the update and the reminder, and as Boots said, very important for their wife to like have that information to remember what the story was about, leading up to where we are now. And then kind of we talked to Goric. Awesome, good stuff. We go to Lawrence Pass. Anka then takes Goric, and you sit in there and you're like, what's going on? Like, I mean, what do I do now? And then you and Aurene go and try and rescue Goric, right? And you're in this place, and like Cruz said, do you want to tell us what happens then? You're kind of sitting on, you've got these Aether blades right everywhere. Like you're on a ship. You're like, what's happening then? What's going on?
So you're in the clouds. So if you have a fear of heights, I'm very sorry. Do not look over the edge. But you're on a bunch of ships. Well, you're only on one ship because you can only be in one place at one time. But you eventually get to all the other ships. So you have to make your way through, beating up a bunch of Aether blades to hopefully find Goric. To talk about a review, Aurene, I absolutely loved how they wrote Aurene in the very first instance. She felt like a character, and she had a really awesome moment of, she's in this place in this instance where she
Calm
wants
down,
to
Rook. All right, I'm looking at you. I really feel like I need to. I'm not going to say calm down, but the reason I'm saying calm down is for audio peeps. Because Rook right now, I feel like is just going to burst either into song or into tears. So I'm not sure which one is going to be.
at the same time.
But that's cool.
Both.
I mean, yeah, you can do it. You can do both.
Just that I know
fine.
exactly the moment Kroop's about to say, and I loved it. And you were so right. Go, go, go.
Oh no, I don't want to mess it up.
No.
I love.
I missed out by interrupting.
You make your way through the Aether blades, and there's a moment where Aurene is, I think, written like really powerfully and humorously, but also has an edge to her. She like zooms into a ship, and the dialogue is like, "Get your dragon in order," and Aurene's like, "They think I'm your pet," and it's just like she has this great character moment that I really appreciated. So you can make your way through the Aether blades, and Aurene helps you along the way. It's a great instance.
It is. It's dynamic. It's action packed. Again, it's so funny because games will tackle story in so many different ways, but Guild Wars 2 has never wanted to just make you sit down and have story time, right? And I love story time, don't get me wrong. There are moments where we get really great cinematics, we get these really beautiful things, and I love just having a good experience. But there is something to be said as well about like literally being an active part of the story as it happens with you and around you. And this is such an exceptional example of that, because I mean, it is one very clear, where you generally like need to go and what you need to do, which sometimes when they've tried to play around with a lot of the platforms and things like that, it can get a little confusing in previous story instances. And this one has some flexibility where it's like, yes, I could see people getting turned around a little bit, but generally the platforms visually have a good flow to them. The ships you're moving to, you have an idea. It's like, it is a progression that makes sense. And as you go, those dialogue moments, even the dialogue with Gorick and all this other stuff, like you have Gorick who's telling you in like the same moment, like, you get there when you find him on the ship and he's singing like a songbird. He's just like, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And then when you free him, he's like, I refuse to give up a single thing. It's like, It's all these little tiny moments that as you go through it, and probably even as you replay it, they are just so fantastic to witness. And it is being a living part of the story as it happens, in a way that, again, just like it's just not quite the same in other games. And Guild Wars 2 really knocked out of the park with this one. It felt so exciting. It felt so dynamic. And gosh, seeing Aurene just fly around the field, it's stunning.
And talking as well. I had many
taking down those ships.
Yeah, that was cool. I was the reason I was laughing when you were talking about the platforms and like it was
you were
really
falling
good,
down so many times. It was hilarious.
Literally, as you were saying it, like I had failed like 3 times in a row to get to one platform, and I couldn't. I was just doing it too early. I was just too excited to get through. But I actually had, like, the whole thing was great. There were these platforms that it's on the screen right now. If you're listening audibly, you can check out the VOD as well if you want. But there was these little platforms that would hover as well between each one. And actually, funny enough, in later maps in the game, you get to kind of experience these again, which is really, really awesome. And, pick up these cannons. But, like, just looking back at it, like, thinking, damn, we're, like, literally flying through the mists on ships, jumping from platform to platform, ship to ship. And, Gorick actually, as you said as well, Gorick was great in this. I feel like he was hilarious, but not obviously so in so many parts of the story everywhere. He wasn't like intentionally joking. You were just laughing kind of at/with him. And just because he's ridiculous. But yeah, the instance was fun. Like, the controls were good. I did experience, unfortunately myself, I did have some bugs. Launch day stuff. Also, I got a little bit happy with the control, your special action, and I ended up on the boat with Trin as they were talking to me of where I was supposed to be on another ship. I'd actually already been. I was like, yeah, I've got you, Trin. I've already got Gorick back. Here. We're not even going to Camphor. We don't even need to go there anymore because I've already got Gorick. The whole game is just messed up. So
there you are.
It was pretty funny. Why is there an ad? It's because I was on Chrome. I'll bring us back in a sec. But free advertising, that's what it's about. But it was really, really good. Anything like Boots, how did you feel about it? I'm not sure if I interrupted anyone's point there. Sorry if I did.
Are we talking about the
it's the instance? I mean, we're leading towards the prison. We're leaning there.
Oh, so the prison. Oh, we're talking about the prison.
Well, what happened was okay. Well, what happened was we got to my Trin ship, or just before, and then unfortunately we all crashed. Like, everything happens. Aurene's like, woo, all the things, and then I don't want to go into too much detail.
And then there's a cute little cutscene where you're on the beach.
Yes,
and that was nice too. A little Path of Exile kind of situation. It was really nice. I like that. And then Rama comes up to you. Big hatted man comes up to you.
Amazing hat.
I really liked that moment because it was one of the rare moments in this game where I went, oh, other than those old cutscenes where it was like standing in front of the screen, talking to each other. There are very few select instances where they actually put our character model into like a cinematic style, scene. And so to actually see ourselves there, to see ourselves on the beach and like on the island, I was like, I'm so pumped about this. I really hope we get more like this,
There were so many new storytelling methods they used in this story, and all of them worked for me. They're all really well done. But yeah, and then you get thrown into jail, and you wake up 9 days later. And Goric apparently is ready to stab someone. Good.
So good. He's so
Prison
good.
hit Goric hard.
Goric wasn't ready.
Yeah, but what I really like about that, so there's items around you, and you can escape. You can escape the jail on your own if you do like a series of things. You can get out of the jail before anybody comes to get you. And but honestly, it's probably just best just to listen to Goric the whole time.
That's what I did. It was funny. The first time I was like going around and I, kind of like looked at something I couldn't really see. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's a little thing about the bench and stuff. And then I realized that he was just going and going. And I just stopped everything else that I was doing and just turned around and was just listening. I was like, oh my gosh, he's still talking.
Yep.
He still has dialogue.
The first time I did the instance, I was like, I think I was like first person view on my camera, so I don't think I actually saw any of the items you could pick up. So all I saw was Goric in front of me, and he was talking the whole time, and I was like, am I supposed to like approach him and slap him, or
Do I have to interrupt him?
And then yeah, but then the second time I played through it, I was like, wait a second, there's items here. I'm gonna do this. And yeah, but I regretted it because I wanted to hear him again. I wanted to hear him all the way through.
You can always go back.
Yeah, I did. I waited the whole time. I was there with him. I was just like, because I was thinking, what is happening? Because it felt quite long at first, but I was enjoying it. And I think I was just like, expansion, I need to go now and see Camper. I was like, dude, please let me through. It's going to be fine in the end.
I really love it because one of the things that I've seen the devs talking about in regards to goals for writing, which actually might be something that we even want to do, try to compile all the tweets and things that we can find of devs or, moments of them talking about this expansion, because there's been some great info. One of them was that one of their goals was that they were really trying to create a like living moment, a life for these NPCs, even when they weren't on screen. And so, like, you see these incredible throughputs of character beats. Like, if you sit there and listen to all of Goric in this moment, you will get the foundations of all these, like, ideas in his head that he then talks about throughout the rest of the story. These little things where, you see him like, oh no, we're in prison and everything's been so terrible and I don't even know what I'm gonna do. What do I do in prison? Oh, well, I've always been weak. I have to get strong. I must get stronger. And, like, you see all this stuff where he's like, I'm gonna have to stab someone. You see him, like, because of the different things that he's done. And I mean, even being a part of Thamanova, even being a part of all these other, moments where I think he was a researcher and, he's always believed in the power of the mind, but he's realizing that this is a world in which the power of force or the power of, the body or like strength and in martial prowess, oftentimes put him at the mercy of, other forces because he lacks that or has lacked that. And so if you listen to him the whole time, you get that inner monologue from him where he's almost reconciling this and deciding that he's going to go this other direction in a way. And then if you're going through the metas and all this other stuff later with him, you'll hear him reiterate again, like, these different things about how he's trying to become strong and powerful. So like all of these characters have this really rich life, and Goric he really shown this expansion in a way that, like, we've had hints of in the past, but it just didn't feel like they'd fully committed as much as they did in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. He felt very side character, right?
When he pulled the, I gotta find the biggest person in this place and stab him. When he pulled that out of the, I was on my Guardian at the time. It was the first playthrough, and I was like, wait a second,
that's me.
I'm the biggest guy in here.
There are no Norn here. Yeah.
Goric, what are you saying?
I completely forgot about
my
this.
Asura and put on my shrinking tonic. Looks like you're just gonna have to shank yourself.
Shank yourself. Oh my god, I completely forgot about this first. I can't believe this. You're so right about that. Your player character on the, I'm just playing it back now on the stream because I wanted to show it. But like being on the beach as well, like that, you're right. Like just laying down the beach just there. And that artwork as well for that instance in the prison is perfect. It's just Goric just standing there and just like, yep, that makes sense. It was kind of mostly about Goric, and you're just kind of being repaired basically, aren't you? Because you were just completely ruined. You weren't completely dead, but you were close to being
I'm
dead.
Arenanet in chat. How's it going, Tom?
Oh, hello.
Oh my gosh. Hello.
Thank you, Chris.
Hello there.
And there's so many little things also that they did so properly. Like when you get out and the person comes up to you to bring you out, before he introduces who he is, before he says his name, the character says "big-hatted man," like above his head. And the NPC says "big-hatted man," and then it changes to Detective Rama as soon as he says.
One of my favorite memes that has come out of the expansion, I love it, I immediately retweeted it, is it's these 3 images, and the first one has Jory and it says she her, and then the second one has Yao and it says they them, and then the last one is Detective Rama and it says big hat. I just love it. Rama is another character from this expansion that, from that introduction, like you said, even the way that they classify him to like how you learn about him, and like later if you do a bunch of other stuff with him, which we'll get into with like collections, and there's even like optional dialogue with him in Kaining where you can learn more about his history with the city and like all this stuff, where like when you first meet him in this jail cell, there's that like detective of mystery, you know, walking the rough streets kind of feel to him.
Yeah.
But there's so much nuance to him. And like even the way that he interacts as you're walking, he talks to you, he talks to the other people that work in the office with him. Like he just has this great personality that's so clear from the start.
He has a lot of dimension. And as you said, even in this very first instance where you have that, like, okay, so he's someone of power, someone who has a little bit of authority in this circumstance, especially us as prisoners. And then we have that discussion and we go into the office, and then you see more of his relationship with Akane, the intern. And while he has that kind of like edge to him, and like, you know, he's someone to not really mess around with, he is kind of like a chill boss almost. He's like, hey, Akane. And Akane's like, I love an unpaid internship. It's just like a really fun interaction between the two characters. Of course, we didn't have that, like, us as the commander, we don't have that history, so we're kind of like on the outside looking in, like, okay, we're in this situation, are we gonna get let free, how's it gonna work? And it's like, oh, that's a fun little bit going on. So I appreciated that quite a bit.
Akane has strong April Ludgate vibes.
yes I was about to say that.
Akane so much.
Yeah, or I forget the character in My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. There's another one just like that. But yeah, I want to say, Rama is very well written. As like, I want to say he's going to be my new. I feel like Kanak is kind of getting written out a little bit. I feel like Kanak is. I know. I'm sorry
it's
to say.
It's a new generation, right? You know, that was the Heart of Thorns generation,
freshness.
Path of Fire, and Rama is fresh, and Camphor needs to be represented for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Rama is my new Kanak. And also, I feel like what you were talking about, big hat or cool hat, I feel like that is very true for a lot of the Guild Wars 2 player base now. Rama has awakened a new sexual preference in them, and it's person with big hat.
It's like, oh my gosh, what a large brim.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so good because, I mean, let's just be real here. And this is something we'll talk about more as we actually get into the zone. The influences in this expansion are just phenomenally on point. The cultural inspiration, the representation of a diverse region, large, I mean, like massively encompassing region. We hear so much East Asian or Asian inspired. I would very much caution people away from, I've seen a lot of, it's so weird, people like talk about like, oh, it's all Oriental and like all these kinds of terms and these tossaways, which in some places you may still use more freely than others, but especially now as we discuss a lot of things culturally on a large scale in our communities about this expansion, remembering that East Asian cultures encompass a massive range of people, so many different groups. And even when I was participating in the preview for the expansion, the devs were saying a lot, like, none of these particular cultures that, even in their game, the fantasy cultures that they're representing are a monolith. And there was this discussion about the fact that nothing is just, this one thing that's this vague generic thing. We're trying very much to depict things well. So all of that to say, I think there's a beautiful job in the way that they drew this inspiration source. Rama's outfit is gorgeous because, like many other areas and characters that we see in this expansion, they're direct cultural influences to that style of hat. We were even talking when we were getting like really excited about Harbinger, the hat that they use there, and its inspiration and draw from Korea. And yet it is used in tandem with a character that has this like noir sort of detective feel to him, which was oftentimes very much characterized by like the fedora and these other hats. So like, again, it's just, I love it because the craft and care that has gone into this expansion is like apparent from the moment you are in that cell. You step into his office. I spent a good 5 minutes just looking around at the characters, looking at the textures on the walls, the inspiration, the architecture. I mean, it's like, it is a feast, but in a way that isn't just like everything is mashed potatoes. It's like in a way that every single piece of food has been so carefully prepared with really, really thoughtful ingredients.
But I like mashed potatoes.
I love mashed potatoes too, don't get me wrong.
I haven't had mashed potatoes for a long time, actually, thanks.
So this, where you are right now, Jebro, in the story, I had a really hard time right here because I walked out onto this balcony.
Yeah.
And I could not
withdraw.
Like, I mean, I knew I had to listen to the talking. I knew I had to concentrate on what everybody was saying because it's part of the story. But I couldn't. I had to look around, and it was very painful for me.
I mean, this is a good thing to see because this is actually one of the best parts of the expansion. Oh. I'm not gonna lie, I love this. Like, it was very good. We're gonna get there, and as it comes up, we'll talk about it. You ask, but like, as Boots says, is it you want to look around, right? You do, because you're literally on this amazing kind of balcony. You've got a campfire. When I say best parts of the expansion, you know what I mean. Wait, are you saying? Are you talking about me, Obi? I loved everything.
Wow.
There was a good moment. Have you, like, we're still waiting to get there. You will know what I mean shortly. When I say best bits of the expansion, it's because best intro then. What do you want me to say? Like, it's very good. It was good. In terms of feels, like, it was like up there for like Guild Wars 2 history and Guild Wars history as well. Why is it taking so long to get there? Actually, maybe I missed it.
You passed it.
Did I miss it? Did you pass it? Oh, damn. All right,
Are we
fine.
talking about the fun
okay.
camera thing?
Yeah, we're talking about the fun camera thing. Did we go past it? Oh, my bad.
Past it, yeah.
Oh, really? Where is it?
It's like right when you first get onto the balcony.
Okay,
It's
all
like,
right.
yeah, you're walking, you see the Jade Golem. Also, I could not help but stop and look at the Tengu.
Yeah, that's true.
They intentionally put like 3 variations of Tengu, and I was like, oh, I can actually see them in game and not have to just watch them on stream and see the detail. Oh my god, the white fluffy Tengu!
I love the white fluffy Tengu with the little tiny hat. It's the cutest, best thing that has ever happened in Guild Wars 2.
Tengu with hats. We have
Tengu with
reached
hats.
a new level.
I just like, yes, I agree with you, Kroof. Absolutely. Every Tengu was a joy. And in my playthrough, it was like anytime a new variation of Tengu appeared or Tengu plus hat combo appeared, it was over. Like, the story was happening. I was off somewhere just staring at the Tengu, zooming into first person cam, just like hanging out. Oh, they're so good.
I do have many pictures of the Tengu. This is true. I think every different one. I am awful in expansions when it comes to new stuff in any like story. Like, people would tell you last night while I was trying to finish the story, there's these epic moments happening. I'm taking a screenshot, die, and lose an achievement, and I'm just like, I don't care. The screenshot is more important, and like, it's just like, trying to get screenshots. I feel you. I think this is the moment. Actually, I think this is the moment here in the footage. If you can see.
Soon.
Okay,
Soon. You have to walk around the corner.
I wanna have the audio for when this happens. But yes, the Tengu as well. It really is like, and Rama is like, it just leads you up. Like, if you don't know what we're talking about, because it's audio peeps, we're talking about Detective Rama. Rama is leading you to the balcony, which is the first time you really see Camphor. You kind of get intoxicated by it, because the prison isn't probably a really good indication of what Canberra's like.
It's a nice looking prison, mind you.
It is actually a beautiful prison. If I was going to go to prison, that would probably be the prison I would go to. Oh, here we go.
We're here.
Oh my god!
Welcome to Canberra.
Welcome.
Oh my god, they did so good! That is so good. Well done. It got
so
it. It got
perfect.
me. Nice.
And you got the little
That was cool.
cherry blossom petals floating
Pride
down.
ambassadors waiting.
Good job. See, you got me as well. Like, you know, it was. I was like, that was a good reaction actually.
When I saw
That's
Arenanet
good.
Presents, it was over for me. I was like, oh, this is the expansion.
Well, that's
This is
interesting though,
the
actually.
expansion.
So the Arenanet Presents logo, the cherry blossoms are added to the scene, right? Like it's added as a layer on top, just like the.
I think
End
it's
of Dragons
part of
logo.
the. I think it's part of the
Oh
actual
yeah, you're
scene.
right. Okay, because I didn't see them before, but now I see them.
Yeah. I think it's,
Yeah,
it's
there they
definitely
are.
that.
There they are.
I don't remember them doing. I mean, they didn't have the opportunity with Heart of Thorns to do that. Maybe they did it with Path of Fire because
No.
they didn't. Maybe
No,
Maybe
this
they
is the
didn't.
first time they've done something
It was
which is a bit more of
so
like
different.
a
Yeah.
solid opener with a title sequence, and it's like, oh, this feels like the great layout.
It was weird, wasn't it? Like really, like how they just completely not weird, but like in a good way. But like they just completely were like, you know what? You going back to camphor? Let's go ham. Let's go
It's almost like
absolute
breaking
ham.
the fourth wall. It's
Yeah.
in a way like
Yeah.
taking you out of the world for a moment, but not in a dull way. It's like, oh, like we have a splash screen. And
Yeah.
they kind of did something like this with Heart of Thorns, where they played the cinematic trailer,
Mm.
but they didn't play the entire thing. It was just like the Mordrum kind of awakening.
But
which
we'd
was the
already seen that. Have
closest
we
thing.
already seen that?
Yeah, we already saw this, so it was a
Think
little
so,
bit different.
yeah.
But that's the only thing I could think of that kind of mimics this.
Nice.
I loved this. I mean, the thing is with those kind of title reveals or title drop lines, right? Is that it is almost like a declaration. It's a punctuation, and it sort of separates what has happened before and what is about to come. And so like we had just this incredible right off the bat, like action-packed sequence, this great witty writing with yes, as Tom pointed out, the incredible voice acting performances, which again I think were the best they've ever been in this expansion. We had such a phenomenal voice acting cast. It's incredible. And then, you know, it's like this place, this location, and the environments that they have created this expansion are on a level I have not witnessed in another MMO. Guild Wars 2's environments in general already were that, but they have taken it to an entirely different level
Yeah.
where I just can't even comprehend some of the things that these maps encompass and the details in them. And to return to this place that, again, is so crucial to the past, but that is kicking us off to a new future of Guild Wars 2. It really did feel like this was a statement, you know? We have worked on this. We have come through a lot in this game. We have a history of 10 plus years with this story going back even further to Guild Wars 1, and we are ready for what's next. And I get chills just thinking about it. You know what I mean?
When it came up on the screen for me, I thought it too. I thought that, wow, this is a statement. This is they're saying something here. This is no. First of all, this story is going to be interesting because it's titled End of Dragons. It's a culmination of everything that's come before. But then at the back of my head, I was like, I hope that it's good, because if you try to make a statement like that with this and then it's
Wait,
not
what?
that good, then it's just like, oh, okay.
Did you
all right.
just say? Wait, what?
You're
did you
always
say?
battling
But
the
then,
two demons.
but
the
I
one
will
that
say
wants it to
now,
be
I will
great.
say now,
You
after
think
having
the
played
intro
the
is
entire
really
story,
good? Okay, right.
after
Yeah.
having played the entire story, I will now say, End of Dragons is the best story we have gotten in Guild Wars 2 by far. It is so good compared to any MMO, I'd say, that I've ever played.
Yeah, and we saw the start of this. You know, it's something that I've been honestly advocating for a lot because I mean, Guild Wars 2, out of any of the MMOs that I think I play, I have seen the most development, growth, change. And as we've talked about on the podcast, there are times where like sometimes there's a little bit of a miss with some type of new content thing. Sometimes there's been maybe a little bit of obscurity with communication for many reasons beyond anything that the developers themselves, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that go into this kind of game. But there are reasons we all fell in love with this game. You know what I mean? There are traits and qualities that Guild Wars 2 has had and continue to develop and increase over the years that are so unique in this space and so incredibly worth experiencing. And when we hit Living Season 4, I just started noticing, I was like, if they let this team run, it's going to be incredible. They are going to take off and fly. If they let them do this, yeah, like it just, the cinematics were of a whole new level there. The story and the way they were building that momentum, the characterization of Aurene in that season. Again, I loved the entire thing with her facing her own mortality like her mother had before her. Like, oh, it's just so good. And, you know, it's one of those things where those little nuggets, I just wanted to see them polished and shine. And End of Dragons, it's like they had the time, the resources, the team, and they just, that is like, I just wanted to yell the whole time. That's what I knew was here. You know what I mean? Like as far as story goes, like, because it's just incredible to see what this team can do releasing like this. So, I mean, it's just beautiful.
And what an X-Pac to hit that stride with the end of a 10-year storyline. Like, if this was the moment to do it, this was the moment to do it.
Hey, so. Proof, we're only talking about the first map here.
Wow. I wonder who might have introduced
it was maybe Boots. Yeah, we can thank you, Proof. Proof, continue your thought. No, you didn't. You're fine.
Oh my gosh.
I ran off. I had to the building work is almost completed and it's just sometimes
really?
Noise.
Finally.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
Nice.
So no, it's
you know,
not
the cycle truly is reborn and more
it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. But I'm actually getting to probably move out in August, which is fun.
Jebro presents
a new apartment.
Yeah, a new one. Okay, I'm going to bring us back a little bit. Yes, I'm excited that you're all overjoyed at the story and everything. I couldn't agree more. But before we get to talking about specifics and stories, we're in the first map. Which is beautiful map indeed. And the first thing
What's
you do
it called,
actually,
beautiful clothes.
Xingje Island. Oh,
incorrect.
Well, I can't say the word.
Seitung Province.
Seitung Province. That's the one. I can't say. I'm
my
my
to call it
voice.
Xingje. I have to learn province because I always just want to say harbor because I'm so used to saying Seitung Harbor.
Right.
Seitung.
Just think of it as Canada instead of Cantha and then province.
Canada.
Hey, I guess.
I'd rather go to Canada. I guess like Canada's nice, but like.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I wrote in the document the name as well. I don't know why I can't say it. I just feel bad because I'm not saying it right. I Canada people. I love your country as well. I will go to you one day. I will. I'm sorry.
Maple syrup.
I will.
Syrup.
Wow.
I really love Boots that came out from Canada. That was great. Great job, Canada. You made something really great. Really love it. Really love Boots.
And also, when you finished this, you saw your mastery go up. I checked my mastery and it went up. And you got fishing. You did get access to fishing before you actually got access to it through the story, which is where you learn how to fish. You could actually just buy a fishing rod right there. Which is what I did because I didn't realize you unlocked it. You technically unlocked it during the story. Yeah, you can actually just buy a fishing rod. Yeah.
Oh. So like you just open up Guild Wars 2 and you have fishing unlocked?
No, well, if you have a look, like this, it gives you the first mastery line as you get
and
into.
It gives you. I think it also gives you the fishing pole. It gives you everything.
I don't think it gives. Well, no, it gives it to you in the story, like later. But you can actually buy a fishing pole from a vendor.
Are there like better fishing poles called like the Real Master 3000 or stuff like that?
There's a skin. There's a skin you can get from one of the half vendors.
Skin? Okay.
Yeah.
This is the way they can introduce underwater weapons to the above ground. Because we can have a harpoon gun.
Yeah, there you go. As a fishing.
I mean,
tridents are just kind of fancy spears if you think about it.
Kazu Kasu clarifies. Sorry, Kasu clarifies in the chat that you get a fishing rod at the end of the instance. Tooltip says it was Rama's and it was in your belongings.
Oh, what, on this instance?
Yeah,
I thought that was
'cause
the
like-
next one. When you're with
No.
Aurene, when you learn to fish.
That's the first time in the story that like they directly force you to engage with fishing. But I was like, I thought I fished immediately after.
Oh, actually, yes. You're right, because I bought one and then realized I already had one.
Yeah, why did
Jebro.
Rama leave his
Information.
fishing rod in
So I
our
was wrong.
in our belongings?
I don't know if it was Rama's, but I think the tooltip is like, there's a fishing rod and no one knows whose it was. Rama's fine if you take it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I will point out that in the mastery line for fishing, there is one of the masteries is called Master Caster. And I think they put that there just to remind you that they understand that you could make puns with master, but decided not to do a certain other pun.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Boots, this is the kind of top quality podcast
We need-
content
no, but this
that
is
I
like,
love.
this is like not even like deep into the iceberg level of like narrative thinking and like deep analysis that I truly appreciate.
No, I agree. I mean, here's the thing. Many of us will probably have gotten to roughly this point in the story, and then for the next 2 days, roughly, I would say, done nothing else except for fish.
That part.
So,
I did the story, but I was close.
Wow, Jebro.
I fished on the way.
wow.
I want to see
Fishing
And then-
is super fun. No, I was gonna say fishing's super fun.
Did we
Kurf.
talk about it? I mean, like we've got a fishing rod, right? But was that the first thing you did, or all right? The first thing I did. I will talk about the first thing I did. I leveled my specialization up to full, and because I wanted that armor piece and I wanted the weapon, because I was like, I'm a mechanist. I want to see the things, and I was like,
Literally
I got
lunch day.
super hyped.
When we got into your hour segment, you're like, look at the armor. Look at the mace. What is the mace? And we're like, it's a fist, Jebro. He's like, what is the mace? And we're like, it's a fist, Jebro.
Yeah, it is
That
a
is
fist.
so-
It's so
you
good.
were
Look,
like,
look here.
Look at my
Look.
mace.
Look at my face.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can get the audio when I'm like talking about it. Absolutely.
I'm sorry,
It's
we do
so
need to take a
good.
second because you both were like, oh, great job, Rook, with the pre-show. But we didn't get to do the same to both of you because Kroof and Jebro were both live. And you are both very kind, lovely, wonderful people that invited others to come with you. So I got to hang out with Kroof, and then we all got to hang out with Jebro for an impromptu Let's Play Lightbringers that night, live on the official Guild Wars 2 channel. You both just like rocked it. Kroof, you're so professional. Kroof and I doofed around the maps. Yeah, you dabbed, and it was so great. Just the polish, the flair you love to see. And yeah, Jeb talked a lot about
Fists.
fists.
Yeah, look, like the thing is, puns, words,
Fist
and
things.
also, fist things, and
This is what Jebro talked about a
very
lot.
important, yeah. So
Jeb really loves the new
I
weapon.
really like the
Can't
new
wait to see
weapon.
the art.
And the ascended. Wait, what? I'm so confused now. But you can get a bigger fist as well if the ascended version
Oh, is that
is
so?
even bigger. Yeah, it's massive.
Do you prefer a bigger fist, like a really massive
I think
fist?
if there was going to be a fist, I mean, it would probably have to be bigger to, so, like you want it to cover your entire face. Like if it was to be a real hand, like look at it, so good.
Oh, no.
What?
No. You two
Look at how good that
murdered
is.
Kroof. You
Oh, it's
murdered Kroof,
amazing.
Jebro.
I love it. Look how hard That is so
Oh,
look at the fist though. It's so good.
Yeah, Jebro
You
loves
need
it.
I'm
you need those
excited.
vulnerability sigils and that rune set. I think it's Thief rune set where you get
Force.
extra attack from behind.
Oh yeah. Good lord.
Boots,
Good
are
lord.
we gonna see a new?
Boots bad build.
I'm really dying. Are we gonna see a new Boots bad build? But it's just like Boots erotic build.
So,
Boots snargle gold claw.
I'm down.
You're glad you're not playing Windbender, yeah. That's probably true. There's kicks in there as well. Anyway, I don't know. So, welcome back, Kroof, who will be returning soon. Headphones aren't on yet. First Vista as well, it looks very good. But yes, when you level on up an elite specialization, you get an armor piece and you get a weapon. I'm pretty sure that's the same for every class. I don't think you get 2 weapons. And then you can upgrade like the weapon into like, you know, I think you upgrade that, but I actually haven't done that process, so I have to find out. But you can get collections for the story and maps and etc, which lead to a collection, so you can get a bigger thing. This is literally like the one for Mechanist is literally a bigger fist. It's just a bigger fist.
Jebro, please, I'm begging you, please stop saying the word fist.
All right, it's a bigger hand. It's a bigger mace. Sorry, it is a mace. That is the actual weapon they use. Yeah, so let's move forward. And the gloves as well, which is very like
love fishing so much.
The Mechanist,
let's
but the
talk about
Mechanist
fishing.
gloves as well. They're really big.
Okay.
Actually, can we talk about fishing?
Like moving forward.
I actually really want to talk
I
about
do
fishing
too.
because I want to get into fishing. I am currently fishing a little bit, but I feel like I'm just scratching. I'm just on the shallow waters of the big, deep fishing pool because I've just been I haven't been like eating food for it. I haven't been equipping equipment. I've just been fishing whenever I see water and picking up some
Please
old
take
fish.
breaks and eat food.
Well,
I would never
there
do
is that. Well, well, how about we talk about the leading up to this? So that you get fishing and you kind of ignore me doing this. There was a bug. The game footage wise, it was weird. My mount wouldn't work, so I was trying to carry these boxes, but my mount wouldn't work, so I ended up doing it myself. It was really weird. It didn't work. And yeah, so what was it like? What's the mechanic like, Boot Slayer, of fishing? Like when you get your, like from taking out your pole to casting a line and shit. That was the first one.
It's almost identical to.
I'm blaming everyone here, by the way, not just me. Okay.
It's like if it's very similar to Stardew Valley fishing if you ported it to Guild Wars 2, but I'd say a little bit easier than Stardew Valley fishing.
Okay.
That would be my best explanation of it. So like you cast your line, you have a little indicator of where you want to put it, and then you click a button when it looks like you got a fish because it's bobbing in the water. Yeah. And then you're reeling it in, so you're struggling with the fish, and you got to keep your indicator following this little bobble thing to try to keep the fish going. And then you press left or right in order to do that.
Yeah.
And why are people?
We're all still laughing about getting our poles that are probably in the fists, but no, like
I'm watching Kroof literally go through the process of trying not to laugh and like close their eyes.
I was impressed by Boots' description of how to fish. I thought it was very good.
I thought it was fantastic.
You did a great job.
Rook is being terribly rude.
I think because
I would never be such a way.
Kroof's energy is very contagious, and I can't look at Kroof's face and then not laugh more as I see what's happening. So I'm going to stop, and I'm not going to look at Kroof at all. And Boots, I agree with you. It's very much like Stardew Valley.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's not quite as hard as Stardew Valley, and I think that makes it more fun to do because I feel like Stardew Valley can sometimes get a little bit frustrating with the way, like the clicking, you have to like get the clicking just right. Are you like blocking out? Are you focusing on me right now?
Yeah, I'm just focusing completely on you right now, Boots. So keep going. You're doing great.
And but yeah, anyway, it's a lot of fun. But I want to know the rewards you get from it.
Fish.
Tell me. Fish. Okay, you get fish.
Well, no, that's not technically true. I mean, it's not just fish because I've been fishing quite a lot. So you can get items such as you can get junk that's worth 75 silver, for example.
Woo.
Yeah. Which I've been getting. I think I got like 10. So from the daily, I think if you do a daily, you can get like some junk, which is worth 75 silver or something like that. But you can get junk, you can get like talons, you can get things you can deposit, crafting materials. If you get to Corteria, I've been fishing in LA last night. and I realized that I had 100 power, and then I had like my lure and my bait were like 150 in total, but then I could still not catch stuff because I needed food, and you need to have ascended food crafting like 500, right? So to get more power. Yeah.
So,
and the experience you can get from
like
the heart vendor as well, which is like it's like a tip sheet you buy from a karma vendor once you've done the heart, and it gives you an extra 50 power as well. So there isn't actually that much you need to get a higher power, but you either need to buy it off the trading post like the food, or you need to go to do the heart and get the extra power. But it's just more challenging. It's still doable. It's just like your bar thing gets bigger.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So you fish, you get fish, you use the fish to make food.
Yes.
Or you sometimes get some junk, which could be 75.
And some of the bits are for legendaries as well.
There are
legendaries.
Legendary ones, and I mean, honestly, I like the collections as well.
Yeah, collections are always fun.
Those are fun, and the fact that the different bait. There's like different bait that certain fish enjoy. Certain fish are located like along the shore or out further into the water. Day and night plays a role in it. So like right now, it is it's so funny because I don't even want to say it's very fundamental or basic, because they implemented this on a scale that is pretty massive, considering that like every single, even old content, right? You can fish everywhere. There are these different collections, and we have the legendaries tied to it. But it does feel like a fantastic thing for them to continue to develop and build, because I think there could be something more to be said even about additional rare fish or other things they could be used in. Or again, like we were saying, like, what are you going to get completely for your return on this if you keep doing it after you've done all the collections and things like that? Yeah. I mean, of course, you could keep fishing and, I don't know, sell whatever else or things like that. But all that to say, I think there's a lot for them to do as far as adding additional things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
honestly,
absolutely.
It's just so fun to do. That ultimately is the biggest thing for me. It's really fun. To go around together and hang out on a boat.
Can you fish in World versus World?
Ooh.
I haven't tried.
I was going to say, of course.
Nick Hernandez is in chat and can definitely tell. I think Nick worked a little bit on. Pretty sure Nick worked on fishing.
Apparently you can fish in World versus World. All right, I guess I know what I'm doing.
Nick was Nick. So Nick was fishing and this map specifically as well.
I do love the idea of high risk fishing, like fishing in raid wings, fishing in World versus World, fishing in. A little special delight that I take in that. But yeah, fishing, I think, is just a really fun, great activity. We had so much fun, even just running around on our boat. I mean, even just recently on the Crown channel, Lara was showing the hosts fishing, and you could already hear everybody laughing about being like dumped into the water, people being, again, there are experiences within MMOs that I don't always think have to be massively gold-driven, reward-driven. Those are things that will always compel players, and obviously it is something that has to be considered because you are spending time on certain things. But I think sheer joy of activity and or the ways that it brings people together also is so important, and fishing does that for me. It's so fun. And the little events where there's the competitions as well, like it just, those added little things that continue to give you new ways to engage with it. That's a lot of fun.
And that's kind of the group I was in.
Go ahead, sir.
I actually, when they announced fishing, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not a huge crafter or gatherer in games. I actually really have a hard time leveling different crafting professions. Not just in Guild Wars 2. I think I just gravitate towards earning rewards and like gear through doing dungeons or raids, and now we have strike missions.
Or buying it maybe,
rather than purchasing it, rather than like going through that. I need that like more heightened group engagement type feel. But I was extremely caught off guard by how much I enjoyed fishing. I think I have grown 45 years and I'm now an aged, just enjoying the chill life.
Are you saying that only old people enjoy fishing?
No. I'm not saying that's the only demographic that enjoys, but I'm saying
there are many people that enjoy fishing, actually.
But that is the demographic that is the most vocal about.
I went fishing when I was like 8 years old. I don't go fishing now.
That would put
But-
me at a nice 50-60. So I think that's good.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I don't tend to really love those things unless there's some real big reason or like a very unique game that I just really like the way that they handle with craft and gathering. So like I just get into it, right? I don't know why that is. And many people a lot of times are like, Rook, why don't you just love the craft and gathering? And I'm like, I just don't. I just like doing it. I like the combat.
It's
like
monotonous.
You said, I like working towards
It can
those
be
things.
monotonous. It can be very
Sometimes it can.
repeatable.
Be very
Yeah.
monogamous.
But it's weird that the only game in which fishing has really gotten me was Stardew Valley. And I remember I started playing it when co-op came out with my partner and we were doing a map together. And my partner was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm fishing." And my partner asked me 2 hours later, "Rook, what are you doing? Why aren't you on the farm?" And I was like, I'm still fishing. And
Why aren't you on the farm? Get back on the farm, Rook.
they were just like,
I'm
"Why
trying
are
to
you-"
I'm trying to plant the flipping pumpkins. There we go.
They were like, why are you fishing in this game that's all about growing all these crops and things? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just super into it. And I feel like one of the things that always maybe tripped me up with it was that I wanted the world of Stardew to be even more immersive. And so Guild Wars 2 has just nailed this in the sense that like the graphics and the fantasy world that I love is all there. And then we have this like base mechanic of fishing with some additional things and the skiffs, which again, I love that like your group can be on it and it just adds to the chaos. The mobility of skiffs handles so differently than a lot of other mounts. So like as you get used to the way that they move and as your friends are all cheering you on and you're like blasting into rocks and overshooting, like it's such fun chaos. Honestly, I have found it to be really enjoyable and I love how it's implemented and I love that it's in Guild Wars 2 now because it's even better. So if any of you are like, Rook, where are you? Why aren't you at raid? It's probably because I'm fishing.
Skiff must not be moving to anchor. I'm not moving!
Oh yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah,
oh my
that is a little
god.
annoying.
And you're just like, do I exit the skiff, find another place to do it, and then
That's
come
what
back
I
in?
do, yeah.
Yeah, it's what I do.
Yeah.
A little bit frustrating.
But I kind of like it.
So the food you
Yeah,
can
they
make
have
with
things.
it. Have you guys looked at any of the food you can make with it yet?
Some of it, yeah.
No.
I've got the
Just a
recipes
little.
up here as well. I've actually got this right now. I can
Please-
forward it to you if you want. For fishing
Yeah,
power.
please do, because I know I've seen some of them, and they're mostly so there's a bunch of 15% condition increase, and then fishing bonuses,
Yeah.
and
That's the ascended
I'm wondering if
food,
that's just
yeah.
things that we know about, or is that everything? Do you know if
This-
there's like some recipes that haven't been discovered yet?
I think everything that's on the wiki is there. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 right now. And then there's the tips for fishing. This is all to increase power. So power goes from past 75 to plus 150. And then tips for fishing, which is, I think is the heart price, is like a 60-minute one and is plus 50 fishing, which you can easily get. But like there's 4 ascended foods. And I kind of want to eat them right now. There's like bowl of Ecavold hot pot and like Jade Sea bounty and plate of crispy fish pancakes.
I have another question. Are the fish that you need, or the things you get from fishing that you need for legendaries, are those sellable?
Yeah, I would say everything is, isn't it?
I would imagine, right?
I think that's what they
Sometimes
said.
legendaries are, sometimes legendaries aren't.
I've got
I don't know.
I've got legendary. So when you fish and you pick up, you get the purple fish. You use it, and then the materials are red, like ascended. And I think you've got. I'm not sure if you get. I'm not actually sure about this part because I haven't done it. And if anyone has in chat, but like, I'm not sure if you have a chance to get. Because you know when you take the fish apart, you get all the different parts, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
do,
not
'cause
sure if you
can't
get a
sell the
legendary
fish
part.
themselves. You can't sell the fish themselves,
No,
but you
no.
can sell the fillets.
The parts, I think, yeah.
But is it the fillets that you need for the legendary bit, or do you need the fish for the legendary bit?
I'm pretty sure you need the parts because I think you have. It's like a. Yeah, you can't deposit the fish. They're not crafting materials technically, are they?
It would be interesting if you could salvage the fish for like scales. Because I would have liked to maybe seen some
point.
sort of like armor or weapons that you use different like scales and structures of the fish
Absolutely.
to kind of like empower.
Scales.
I think that could be something that they expand upon in the future because it seems like it's pretty much tailored to chefing at the moment.
Well, that's what I was
but
going to
this-
say. Yeah, what do you think that we could do, Griff? Like you're saying
Like
armor and
smith,
okay.
weaponsmithing. I think that'd be
Yeah.
really interesting. throw scrying in there somehow. I don't know, have like a giant fish monster decoration.
No, that's what I was going to say. That
a
was
fish out
literally
of
going to go there.
swordfish.
Yeah, like, people do that, don't they? They put their fish capture on the flipping wall.
Could you imagine?
Are we
going to
get a guild decoration that's a talking fish?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, do you
That
remember
would
that?
be so good. I would love if
Exactly.
they
But
had
it's like a
something like
sentient
that.
fish. It's like an
I mean-
actual sentient one.
I would even love it if they wanted to tie something in like different regions or in the future with future content or stuff like that. I mean, we have the Naga and Kantha. I mean,
Oh, wait, what? You want us to catch Naga and just keep them?
But
Hold
yes,
on.
though.
I am
okay,
not
so-
Naga
done.
babies.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. No, what I'm saying is that we have like
Sorry.
it's okay, it's all right. We have the Naga, so like they could put something in because like historically Naga, at least pre Jade Wind, had good relations with humans, right? So if you wanted to almost like use these different groups or entities and do something where you could even like take the fish to them around various maps or stuff like that, and then they would give you different rewards, or almost kind of like a rep thing, you know, where you were like building up a bit of like good relations with them again or something like that. Like and they could do this with anything on any map and any future story they wanted to do. It doesn't have to just be Naga, but that just, you know, was something that I was thinking about. Where again, like you could be taking those and then turning them into something else, and maybe that vendor could have furnishings or different gears or recipes that you could get, and then you could use those ingredients. I think it'd be kind of fun.
I think that'd be great. I think there's a lot they could do, and I think that those kind of things are kind of necessary because as it stands so far, I think Tulip said in chat that one of the recipes is kind of a meta Condi Boon food. So that's good because it needs
Probably,
something like
yeah.
that in order to get people to continue fishing after fishing for a long time, because there's only so much that the fun of fishing can do for fishing then if there's like no rewards for it after a certain point. So yeah, if you could get a meta food that's good for it, or those decorations or collections, or if you fish up a swordfish and you can make a really cool sword out of it, that I think that's
Yes,
important for
definitely.
They could even do something with that vendor, because we have like our daily challenges and stuff, right? And there are certain ones where you go fish and you get more reward, but there could be something where like if we had those vendors or something, they could be like, you know, we have a really like the hot fish of the day is this. So like you have to go get this specific kind of fish, and then you would actually get something that was like fairly valuable for it if you got like that specific fish or brought it to them or brought them so many. Yeah, there's a lot that they could do with it.
I wonder if they'll have to balance fishing after like a month or so of people fishing in order to make it like as profitable a time sink as certain other things. Like I know you could do meta events and stuff, and you could do probably a 30 gold per hour kind of thing, or 20 gold per hour is pretty standard. And I don't think that you're going to get 20 golds per hour for fishing, but I wonder if they're going to try to balance it to be like, if you just fish and are successful at it continuously, you could get 10 gold per hour or something like that.
I mean, you've still got to spend the time to do it, right? So I think if there is, I think it's also a preference to time to gold, right? And what you do. Like for me, for example, like I know my main way of getting gold is PvP specifically right now, and it always mostly has been. Something like that, but I think a lot of people. So a lot of people when they're doing things like crafting, they're that's their thing, right? So they will do that, and they're like, that's the best way to earn money. If I enjoy that, cool. I think a lot of players, and I'll talk for myself because I don't want to talk for anyone else, is like I have to enjoy what I'm doing, really, like to almost forget about the fact that I'm trying to earn gold as well. Sometimes.
And the good news is that fishing is enjoyable.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is something people want to do. The question is, is it something that people want to do if you get 1 gold per hour from it?
I mean, like
raw gold, or from selling material?
From everything, from selling materials and everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know you're giving an example. I think you get more than that, but I think it comes to with
you do
what
at this point.
what Rook said. Rook's point specifically is one of those activities that you can do with your mates. You know, you can do with your friends, and you can just hang out, have a laugh on a boat. But I think a lot of this is also re-exploring Tyria. Like that's why they brought it out. I went to Lion's Arch yesterday. I had a great view. Put it on Twitter. Just got like, you know, this airship in the background. I've got the flipping lighthouse and everything else. And I'm I'm like fishing in flipping Lion's Arch. This is actually a challenge right now, and I can go anywhere and do this in the PvE environment, like, you know, in the open world. So now I'm gonna go to all these awesome waterways and different places. So in a way, it's more like, I guess it's probably going to last for even longer, right? But there will still be that
last a good month. The novelty, like when you first do fishing and you first like get to explore all these little areas, and you'll still be fishing in your off time if you're just waiting for your friends to show up for doing something, or if your friends just want to have fun with you anyway. So I think fishing will have its place for sure for the next 2 months, let's say. But I'm wondering past that, like. Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that like that's kind of part of what I think you've already said, Boots, as well, like in terms of, you know, introducing into other areas of the game, and what Crew from Rook have said as well. Like it's the culmination of including it into other parts of the game. Like it's in cooking already, cool. It needs to be in decorations, it needs to be in armor, like, you know, Rook said, Crew said.
Or maybe more into cooking, like maybe more different recipes. I
mean, it's still early, right, as well. I mean, if you see collections, there's so many collections.
Right.
Like, there's that alone as well. So they've already got quite a lot.
It'll take a lot of people a year to do the collections.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was also mentioned that a lot of things there do have some fun titles and things that you can unlock. So I agree. Like, Boots, I totally agree with you in that, I mean, otherwise, without something, again, that is a little bit sustainable and that lets us keep doing this for a reason, you'll probably just do it for your own fun. Or like when a new map comes out that has new water to get the new collection or get whatever.
Right. That's true. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So like thinking long term about how this plays a role in the game, especially with it, I think, as we're all saying, being so fun and enjoyable and a different change of pace and a different way to enjoy these maps. Like, there's a ton of directions that they can take this and like continue to evolve it and add more things to it. But I think the most important thing is having this like foundation in which we want to have more to do with it, which we do. You know, it's so fun, and I think it really.
Do you think that in Living World, if they bring out new maps for each Living World episode, they're going to add a new collection of fish?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
This is going on to my point that I'm literally about to do. So if you have a look at your screen, if you remember, they linked fishing into the story. You actually had to fish in the story, and it was very sweet. It was very nice. So
It's the best moment.
it was very good. I had to ping up this moment. So you've obviously crashed in Camphor, but obviously Aurene has as well. If Aurene had crashed, and there's this kind of, I guess, all the magic that surrounds Aurene is kind of surrounded this cave as well. They're in this cave and they're not having the best time right now. So they're trying to recover, trying to work out what's going on. Obviously, they've been drained of magic because of the story. Go play it, you'll find out all the info. We're going to go through the story in depth in future episodes. But Aurene's in trouble. And like one of the things that you have to end up doing is fishing so that you kind of, and if you remember, like way back when we first met Aurene, when we gave Aurene fish and different things to eat, we're kind of reliving and I guess we're re-embracing that relationship that we have with Aurene as well, which is really nice. And the voice actor who plays Aurene is so good. It really gets you, like it really gets you into the feels place. Do you know what I mean? It's the feels place with this specifically, and just a reminder of what you used to do. And the writing as well here was so good that you just like, oh yeah, and it just takes you back. You're like, damn. But then you go fish, and you go and fish, and you bring out the fish. And
when your character says, "I'll always be here to give you fish," and then she responds with that line. Yeah.
I love that. I was like, I'm a little big for that fish.
Yeah, no,
but then she's like, but I will eat it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love what you said about reaffirming that connection, that bond, right? I mean, Living Season 4, there were a lot of like very close interactions. Icebird Saga, I mean, Aurene, we had great interactions with her, but she was basically an Eye of the North, right? Like there was a lot of discussion about, you know, why isn't she going out? Is there something going on with her? Is she okay? Like, you know, there was a lot of discussion about that in the community. And so like it's funny because I mean I think surprising no one here who knows how I feel about Aurene. I have kept that portal device in my bag forever that takes you back to her hatchling chamber and that lets you play fetch with her.
I go back every so often, yeah.
I will never get rid of it. But again, like this expansion had so many little throwbacks in many different ways to the journey that we've taken thus far in the game. Even like the ways that certain characters going back to all the way to Living Season 1 and my Trin and all these other people and these figures, right? Like again, they harkened back to this journey. And when you think back to like, I mean, this will sound very silly, especially considering that she has that line about, you know, like they think I'm your pet, because she's not, she's a sentient creature. But like when you think back on any entity that you have cared for, I think pets because I don't have children, but you think about something that you have seen grow and that you had a hand in nurturing, even just like in friends that over the years you've grown together, like there's something really special about that bond. And the writing in this expansion from the get-go, like when she first is talking to you and she says something along the lines of like, I'm excited to see you, I missed you. And I was just like, I missed you too. I love you. So I just, I loved these moments. The fish was incredible. It was so sweet. You mentioned
that stone in season 4 when she gets, you know, attacked by Kralkatorrik, and we have that period of time in between the 2 Living World episodes where we don't know, well, she's gone. During that period of time, I was like, gotta click that stone. I just want going back to what she's all okay, phew, she's still there. Okay, good. Nothing bad happened. We're all good.
Awesomeness. Yes, it was so good. And it introduced you into fishing. Sorry, yeah, what?
Oh, Nick had a fantastic little tidbit in the chat about that I really want to put in here.
Yeah, really.
Nick says that interaction with Arena's little babby was built by Kevin Freeman at the start of season 3. He did a lot of research on child development, nurturing practices, and pet care to help strike a balance for that sort of stuff between child and non-human creature raising interaction. And you can absolutely see that, like the development.
It's true. I've studied that intensely. Yes, it is very much there. It is. It really is. I need to go back and play. That's what I should do, actually. I should go back in time. I would love to know all of those moments where you've had, like, people have gone and learned through things. I could go through that and literally be like, whose theory is that? And think about the theories that have been used there. So it's cool. Because when you think about attachment and child attachment, you think about attachment people, you know, I mean, you know, when people talk about their relationship attachments and stuff like this, it's all related to like Bowlby and all these different people who talks about, you know, how you were reared and brought into the world and all this kind of stuff. And when you think about Aurene and you think about that relationship, that's so interesting that they've gone and done that because it's accurate. It's not just this thing where it's just like, they're there, cool, we give them a hug and they're good. They've actually thought about the actual mental health aspect of that, and that is impressive. That is very impressive. I love it.
Especially
Thank you.
The writing for how Aurene portrayed that feeling of how comparing it to when she had the encounter with Kralkatorrik, and this one being so much more different because it's not just a physical end and then reincarnation of Aurene, resurrection. It's like everything that Aurene was brought up with and who she has felt as if it has been siphoned out of her. And it was a slightly different aspect. And then you can talk to her even more and get more information about how Aurene is dealing with it. And I really appreciated this moment. And it also, as a whole, the pacing of the story, this moment was really great. I feel like maybe at some other points, this might not have been a huge moment or we really like paid attention to it. But this point in this expansion, having that moment to slow down and to not go to the next like boss or the next like big enemy, but to go back to our friend and kind of just touch base. I really appreciated that. And it happens throughout this expansion too. And huge points about the pacing.
There was a little thing before this too that I wanted to mention because obviously the Aurene scene stole my heart and I was going to ramble about it forever. But one thing that is also neat is the fact that the fisherman that takes you over to her has unique dialogue for each of the different races in his boat. And that has been really fun as well. I mean, even later when you're riding in a different skiff with an entity, I dumped her in the water twice.
You did what?
on accident. And
Wait, you dumped who in the water?
No.
Oh, I don't
they
think
did.
people knew they could do that yet. So should we?
How
let's
dare you?
let's
I
hold on.
didn't-
Oh,
I'm just saying, I didn't
did hear about
mean-
this.
I didn't mean to dump her in the water.
Does she have
but I
dialogue when that
did.
happens?
Yes.
Yes, and not only
No.
hold up,
Mhm.
not only that, they remember for the rest of the story,
Yep.
and drama gives you crap about it.
Yep.
Really?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
and like
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
these little tiny things, kind of like we were talking about earlier with the Goric scene, right, where like you go in or out, or you can like leave, or you can listen to him all the way through. Little tiny nuances that give a sense of player choice and recognition of that within what is essentially a linear story, that I think really, really, really shine and give you more reasons to engage and like come back and replay. And I just wanted to give a little nod to that because I think it's great design in this kind of context with MMOs and player characters. So
Thank you for reminding me about that, because that's going
By
to be the
the
first thing we
way-
talk about next show.
giving you player choice
By the
without
way,
you even realizing.
Yeah, exactly. That's true though. But that's how good storytelling is done. Like if you make a choice, and even if it's like an accident, like they've written for that. Like you just messing up. Like that's
fantastic.
amazing.
I didn't know that. That's fantastic. But by the way, speaking of that character, though, I don't know about you all, but
Which character?
the character that we were just talking about.
Are we even anywhere near that?
It's like
We
2
just talked
instances
about
ahead.
the character. I'm going to talk about
Okay.
the character one more time.
You want to talk about it one more time? I just want to make sure we're not doing spoilers.
But
and
we're
stuff,
not
that's
going
all.
too far ahead. I'm
Okay.
just saying, look out for it. But I'm pretty sure that character was hitting on me the entire story.
Oh my god. I think you wanted them to hit on you.
I really think we
I
had
would be
something going
fine.
there. I think we had
I would
something
be
going,
fine.
and I'm just saying,
As long as you're
She-
happy.
possibilities
that's
in the
okay.
future.
she can hit on me anytime she wants.
Oh,
is all I'm just
absolutely.
like, I'm just saying. Yeah, no.
I was open to it. I was very open to it.
Okay.
I think Anko was hitting on me. But in another way, like actually hitting me.
I remember.
Yeah.
Uncle was
Attacking
great.
you.
Uncle is a great character anyway. Okay, so fishing, awesome. Writing, awesome. In the first map as well, specifically. Have you played the world boss fight with the Leviathan?
Oh.
I have still not cleared it, but I have played it.
Yeah, I have only
Oh my
encountered
God.
it by myself and
Yes,
maybe one other
yes.
person.
This is the thing. This is another issue they had. So I do want to talk very, very quickly about. I feel like maybe I'm not sure if those issues are still around, but there was very much the fact that there was only one part of the expansion which I was a little bit sad about, which I do want to mention because I feel like these podcasts needs to be kind of neutral at times as well. Map population was an issue. And was actually especially when it came to like these events, which became more of hopping to places, like, and then starting to obviously, arrange them more so as well. As I think that's kind of feels like that's a lot better now. But maybe just like mega servers.
It was a little low at first, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Did they say that they've changed it? Or
I don't know
It was
where.
low. They did increase 3 of the maps population by
Okay, good.
30%.
Nice.
I would maybe like more concrete numbers because it's like
Yeah,
how
numbers would be
much
good.
Actually, but it could have also been an intended to preserve server stability and make sure people's games aren't crashing.
which
And
worked.
it seemed to work, but it also is kind of double-edged sword. Additionally, with it being the first couple days, people I also feel kind of beeline to the story, so some of these events don't feel as populated. But hopefully, as the
everybody's
weeks
in
go
an
by,
instance.
Could be
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
These things will absolutely spread out more, right? And especially as they continue to like refine what's happening, because yes, people did just want to get forward and like move through. And I know there were people like some of us who really between each story beat were really thoroughly trying to explore the maps and trying to do all of that, because really when it comes down to it, that is very much a part of the story of this expansion as well. You really have not gotten the story if you have not done all the maps. So it was something where like a lot of people did push ahead, and I think we saw again lower populations. It's funny to me because I was not bothered by it for even a second.
I was majorly worried. Definitely,
let me explain. Like, I wasn't at all bothered at first. Like, I had people, like, we had people coming in on stream. We were all hanging out. We were running stuff. There was so much to do on the maps. It literally did not matter to me. I was a little bummed that the couple times I went to Leviathan, there weren't people there, but I just figured that's because no one wanted to do underwater combat. Like, I never really
right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, actually.
Like, I was not bummed about. I mean, I was sad because I think this expansion actually has made me the most interested in underwater combat. I know, out of any so far. Like, I was really excited about this fight, just looking at it. How cool is that? And like, the water is so beautiful in Cantha that there's a lot of places I did want to explore down below. You know, I did want to go further and deeper, especially given the water themes of the expansion. So all of that to say, it didn't bother me. There was an incredible amount to discover on the maps. When it started to bother me was much later. And it wasn't even the populations of the maps. It was maybe the lack of control and ability to pick instances. Because like, in other games that I play, when they do releases, you will have many more instances because, again, stability. And again, it is just as miserable to have a map that is wildly overpopulated and everything is a mess and you can't see anything and you can't, like, half the stuff is happening before you even have been able to get there. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, I liked that, again, I had the room to explore, but I started running into these kind of weird issues with instances. For example, there's a bug in Echo Vault, and I won't get too much into all sorts of things, but like, there are these bonus dungeons that are super cool that you can discover and find in that zone.
No, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, if they get cleared in one instance, they don't reset for other players coming in.
Oh, that was a bug, yeah.
And so, like, I was so excited. We discovered them on stream. I was like running around, and I went into them, and I was like, no one's here. What happened? I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, I couldn't pick a different instance to go into to like see if they were reset in that instance. So I kept trying to leave the map and then come back, but it like wasn't, it wasn't putting me in a different instance. We just kept going into the same one, which was kind of a bummer. And when it came to certain things, like on this first map, the Kyrian fight, on some instances, Kyrian was bugged, on some it wasn't. And so like, I couldn't navigate to an instance where I was like, okay, here I am on this map and I want to pick instance 3 or something, or I want to just have a list if I'm at a waypoint where I can see the instances.
That would be nice. And
then like go to one that's really populated where they might be doing the meta, or control which instance. Like if you get a squad together in the last meta, like, okay, like we're all going to go into instance 4, it's empty, but all of us will go in or something. So to me, again, I didn't mind. What I minded more was that a lot of people were harping in chat, like, look at new expansion, dead zone, no one in here, haven't seen a single other player. And I was like, are you using your eyeballs to see what's around you? Like, sorry, I got a little sassy with your eyeballs.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. And this is our... I do get conflicted by my own affiliation, I think, as an Arenanet partner, and my love for the game sometimes, and then realizing what the first impressions of new people coming. This is why I try to remember, and the new people and people who haven't already accessed this experience and also have a very different experience to me as well, is always very, very important to remember, because your experience is so valid. Rook, it's so valid and important and valuable when you go into a map and you're appreciating the world and you're appreciating the experience that you're having, which is very unique to you. Same for Boots, same for Crew, same for me. But then when you do think of an MMORPG and you think about how flippant people can be and impatient, especially in today's world in 2022, first impressions, if you look at Steam, for example, I've said this a few times, I think the average playtime of new games in Steam, for example, is like 10 minutes, something stupid like that, before a player will turn off and go out. You've already passed that, hopefully, by the time you've already got in and you've already got the expansion, whatever. I'm talking generally now, because obviously it's not on Steam yet. And that would be an interesting graph to see, actually, if you look at the Steam charts. And numbers are always very, very good to give you some kind of indication of like popularity and stuff.
I didn't get sucked in by the Leviathan.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, you get to see that. Anyway, it's a really, really, we actually kill it in this instance, but it's very, very close.
It's so cool that you go inside it. I just love that part.
You die as well. Well, you can revive yourself with the
Forcing
orb,
damage.
but you can die. But there is a big problem with this fight, which we've talked about in the stream while we're doing it. But hopefully they're going to change it. But basically, like, I'm glad you had that experience, because it makes me think that other people did as well. Because my experience was as well that, damn, this is an expansion, and I feel kind of lost without other people, because I love doing the events for the story. I love the side story of the events because they're so good, but you can complete them with smaller levels of peeps. I did really want to just see some other people running around. Like my map did feel very dead, and it was just the beginning of it was great. Like, there was loads of people there, but they're so large that, like you said, people just spread out, and I was okay. Like, I was fine with it, but there were moments where I was like, damn, I really wish there was someone here that I could play with to do this event, or I really wish there was someone here who could help me with the Leviathan. And that was the beginning of the launch day. Obviously it's different now, but and as they've started out, but this was launch day, and then we killed the Leviathan, and there were loads of people there. So it didn't take very long for that experience to change. It was just the initial kind of
Yeah, I hope in the coming
Which,
weeks they continue to
a little bit,
increase map population as more people are able to complete the story, and more stability is able to come with like certain DirectX 11 stuff.
You can't just
internal.
point people to things either, can you? Right? Like you're saying, like most people went to the story. Like, you can't just be like, everyone, you have to go over here first.
But I will say, actually, not that you're forcing people, but I was in Seitung Province and my map felt a little bit less populated, but I really wanted to do the meta. So I just popped up a tag and I put it on LFG, and it filled within 5 minutes. I did the same exact thing for the second map. So it's not like people aren't playing. It's just like, as you're playing, it might feel slightly more scattered, but if you have a tag or you just want to play, I recommend going to the LFG and advertising something, because people want to play, but sometimes the one thing is that people don't want to maybe take that one extra step to be the first person to advertise a group.
And
But as soon as you do, boom. Yeah.
That's what you have to do for all metas these days anyway, right? Like, still.
I'm gonna ask you a very important question then, all of you, which is good to think about. Thinking about this as a new expansion and thinking about a new player experience, we've talked about this many times, especially now, more importantly, if you're a new player, how do you even do that? It's very difficult, right? Or is it?
Here's one thing though, because if we're going to talk about new player experience of this expansion,
that's true.
In this same breath, in this exact same moment, I want to say that I think this is the best new player experience that we've had so far.
Oh, absolutely.
This has been incredible. Like, even in the story beats, right? Like, you go in and like learning those basic things, that training ground is a gift. It is so great. I have had more people asking me questions when I've been live recently about, like, they told me about combo field. So, like, how does that work? And I was like, I don't know. Go ask the Lightbringers. No, I'm kidding.
We know you're kidding. Because I will fire you right now. Can I
go talk to Kroof? I don't know the answer.
I've got footage for this as well. I've got footage for this because I know what you mean. I'm kidding. It is very good. I know what you mean.
I am joking, obviously. Like, yes, but the thing is that even I found myself going through some of these where I was like, hold on, let me take a second and think about what I do know about these in a really solid way, because suddenly people were asking me about them and they had never asked me about them before. Like, how do I do this? And I'm thinking through, how can I communicate this the best way? And these are great features about the game that, again, straight up deserve to be talked about as far as like combat goes. And as we look at the way that this entire expansion teaches you things, I just like, the whole first zone is phenomenal. The different things that you learn in the different parts of the meta literally culminate in the final fight. The different bits of like mechanics you see, again, get iterated on and even draw from stuff like raids as players progress through things like strikes and then might get interested in those. There was a language of education in this zone in so many facets that, again, when I said earlier that at this point I feel very comfortable recommending to players, like, you could skip ahead to this if you want.
Yeah.
It's because I almost think that, like, again, this is Guild Wars 2 at its best.
I agree.
And players are going to sample this and they're going to be like, I want more. And that is
but it is a little bit
phenomenal.
more. It is. So I think it is. I agree with you. It is Guild Wars 2 at its best. But for an entirely new player, maybe an MMO veteran, I would say definitely go to EoD right away. But maybe an entirely new player who hasn't played MMOs before, hasn't done that kind of thing, I would still maybe suggest to them do the core game first, leveling process, because there is a significant jump in difficulty between.
It's
core
weird.
story.
I agree with you.
It's weird though, because it feels like you could almost. And I do want to turn back around to this whole like LFG thing because I think it's important. Because it's more of a UI thing, because they're definitely starting to get the net. Hey net, about having those very big basics like combo feels, like you say, and the dodging, and also getting that bar down as well using CC, all these different things. They need to start getting something going for the UI for sure. But like if they had that training ground heart in the core game,
It would help.
Well, but they
And I
have all
feel
the
like-
assets. They have all the
Yeah.
stuff for it now, right? Like,
Yeah.
my hope is that just like
Hopefully.
we've heard a bit of talk about, like, well, maybe Jade technology will make it to other places and batteries and stuff. Like, even if they just reskinned the like components of this arena
absolutely.
to kind of vaguely look themed to each starter city or something,
Yeah.
and then just like put a step in where you went and did this, it's all there. And Boots, I do agree with you in that, like, typically I am never the person that's like skip all the stuff and just go to the end. I actually like.
No, we know you do. We know
like,
you
you know,
don't do
I
that.
know.
That's okay.
I love.
Painstakingly combing
know.
through each
Yes.
punctuation, each letter.
You must
Like-
specifically pay attention to Aurene and
Yes.
then go and play with
you
them for
must,
7
you
hours.
must pay attention. You have to record every line of dialogue that Aurene
Hmm.
speaks to you in this entire thing from the moment she hatches. And you must study it and love it and treasure it. As I have. But no, I mean, I would always say, like, if you care all about story, it is worth it. Work through the whole thing. It's mostly just that I think that you can see the culmination of everything that shines in this game right off the bat in Seitung. And LFG stuff, yes, I agree that, like, again, we have bigger conversations that we've had about like a duty finder, something that a group
Duty.
finder, a duty finder.
I put that on my Instagram. People loved it. That clip. I was like, yeah,
Sorry,
thank
yeah.
you.
That's what it is in
No,
14.
you keep saying duty. Okay, you just
Duty.
keep saying because it'll give me a laugh
Well,
every single damn time.
Jebro, you keep saying fist because it'll just
I
make me
will.
giggle.
I
every
will
single time.
all day.
You talk about how much you love that
Every
new
now and
fist
then.
weapon.
I will. I will.
Can I tell you
Everyone.
3 things I appreciate a lot about this meta now that I'm watching it over and
No.
over again on your thing?
Yeah, do
Sure.
it. Go for it.
Number 1, how big the Leviathan is and how little it looks like it cares about us attacking it because it's so big and so difficult to beat.
Yeah.
Number 2, the fact that it's called an adolescent
Exactly.
Leviathan,
Yeah, I picked up on that as well.
which is like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see an elder Leviathan. Which I hope we do at some point, because they're kind of just, they're giving you that bait. They're like, oh, look at this. We might bring this in sometime. And number 3, how clever the design of this getting sucked into the stomach is. Because look, so you get sucked into the stomach, and it looks like actually
Yes.
you're not technically inside the stomach of the Leviathan. You are in I'm guessing it's a chamber beneath the ground underwater.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the map. And there's a portal that you can teleport back to the thing with.
Oh
Looks
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
It is. It's awesome, and like you have to just kill these different parts in it, so you can get spat out. It's a little bit buggy right now. And when you die in there as well, you can don't get chucked out sometimes. It's a little bit worrying at times, but you have to phase it because otherwise you can't kill it in time. It's very, very sharp. We did it with 1 second to go. Literally, and I think it was like the first Leviathan kill. I would love to find out if it wasn't it, because like I'm pretty sure I put my commander tag up, and I was the first time, so I was like, I have to kill this thing. I need to kill this thing. It was so fun. We've gone off a few different points, but
We
It
are,
was great.
and I'm going to take us even further off the point.
Oh, God.
But I
Okay.
haven't heard any confirmation, but I want to ask Nick a question.
Okay.
So you know how there was like way back there were a live stream where we like helped craft an event and we chose things. Did that happen to make it into the expansion? And what event is that?
Wait, what?
I think
Question.
I don't know if there was any confirmation. It might not have got in, but I was
Wait,
just
what
wondering.
one? What
There was a
about?
live stream event where I believe it was Nick was taking recommendations and like they were hand tailoring an event chain. Oh, it did.
It
It's the
did.
hatchery event in Seitung Province. Okay, confirmation. Because I was just like, oh yeah, I remember like that was a thing. I wonder what event it was.
I did that event just recently, actually, and I was really delighted by it. That's awesome to hear that the community had a hand in it. I mean, that kind of takes me, I guess, to a point that I definitely wanted to talk about as we got into this map specifically. We've had a lot of good conversations about, I mean, some of the things with just like all the different players and the instancing and all that kind of stuff. But I would love to hear everybody's thoughts too on just like this map as far as its actual content and design and the like, because I could not get through the stream today without just saying like straight up that, I mean, I spent 2 straight days on this map.
It's my favorite map, actually.
All
it is
that
my
I
favorite
did.
one. Yeah.
All I did was explore it. Like I literally was just exploring it. I was doing the fox puzzles. I was trying to get any bit of dialogue I could. I was looking for any of the characters that I could. I went in and I did, and this is a whole other thing we can talk about separately too. I did the bamboo maze
I'm not
and Nick was
lying.
hanging out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, I was like completely and utterly amazed at the sheer amount of content in this map. And even stuff like this Leviathan fight, where you don't even realize that maybe you can get sucked into it. But there was like detail on detail on detail in this map that like, I honestly cannot remember the last time I had so much pure fun just exploring.
But like Rook, you're so right. Man, Nick is in here because Nick worked on this map. Nick thinks I'm saying just because you're here. I'm not lying. I will tell you why. I will write a paper, APA style, with references to streams and my own if you want me to, because there are many, many reasons why. One, there are different biomes within this map. And when I say biomes, I don't mean this in terms of literal like weather. If you think about where you are in terms of the map, like in Kainang City, for example, it's very much a city and different areas of the sea. And sure, there's some ruins in the upper east and northeast corner. But in this map, you fight a massive boss underwater combat. You learn fishing for the first time. You have the massive cinematic intro into the map, into Camphor, the first place. You have the area in the south. There is an event and there is a temple. Below the temple there is the maze, which someone mentioned in the chat, and the maze is very, very intricate. There's chests where you can get items like once a day, and you have to channel. I can't remember what you have to do actually.
There are attunements. There are these like colored attunements. There are three different bosses hidden throughout the maze. And you need like a group to take them down. We tried to it's pretty spicy.
Oh
but
yeah, I couldn't say that.
Like you need to have the equivalent attunement color to tackle them. So it becomes this thing of not only learning the maze, getting the chest, but also actually like getting the right attunements for all of your teammates. So you need to figure out which path is going to get you that and what's going to get you that. And then getting into the arenas to fight the 3 of them, all while you are in a setting that is phenomenally designed. When I was first discovering this, I was talking about it. It's spooky, but I want to shout out a couple things because they're so cool. You are in like a spiritual plane, right? Like in a sense, like the spirits are like appearing around you. In order to get there beneath the temple, you pass through a Shinto gate, a Tori gate. Which specifically in like Shinto religion and things like that, or in Buddhist temples. And I don't want to speak incorrectly too much on this. So again, I don't have anything in front of me that's really prepped. So please forgive me as I'm just kind of getting excited and caught up. I just like to preface because it's important to know these things, and I suggest that everybody researches. But like a Tori gate, which is meant to be a separator between the like earthly space and the spiritual space. So when you are going in and out of this spirit maze, you literally pass through a Tori gate, and that is like when the space is defined. And then while you're in there, I know someone in chat mentioned this, and if you have the specific name, again, I would love to actually have it. There are these gorgeous like totems that are in there that are actually based off of, Nick was telling me live, a particular type of Korean warding totem that like protects from spirits. So when you go to those, you are protected from that like necrotic, pervasive energy within the space. Again, it's just like, this is one part of this map, and look at everything that is in it, the consideration, the storytelling, the details. It's beneath an iconic temple that was seen in Guild Wars 1. It's like, I just cannot say enough about it. It's incredible.
This is the map that I have spent the most amount of time in. And you had said like not literal biomes, but I challenge that. There are actually
it does feel like it. Yeah, there is. I forgot.
You have the harbor, you have the more rocky like mountains. You actually have a snowy area near Senqua Peak. And then even in the northeast corner, there's like this desolate, destroyed, corrupt area with some unchained minions. So there's a lot of visual variety within this map, not just like between content.
Like, that's such a good point, because I was just going through the footage and I was like, oh my god, the north and the meta.
Yeah.
Like, I've completely forgotten. You're so right.
Okay.
There's even
this
okay,
meta is so good.
It is so good. Up there in the north, something that's really cool to note is that like later in the story, you'll meet more Tengu. Those Tengu will tell you they're from the Outtro tribe. They didn't know what happened to the Sensali tribe. If you go to the north of this map, you find out what happened to the Sensali.
Yeah.
There's like a jump puzzle there that almost seems to be like a pilgrimage that leads like that the Tengu take, and you yourself can take it as well, and you do this jump puzzle and it takes you to this shrine, and there's actually an event chain that happens there where you see descendants of the Sensali Tengu who then confront and talk about their past and the massacre that happened with the humans. Like,
I'm telling you, it's the best map. I'm telling you, all in the chat, and anyone who's watching, yes, we have our unique experiences, but in terms of design, I feel like this map is the best map. I just like, in terms of that, there's just so much going on.
I haven't spent enough time on this map, that's for sure. But it's hard to say that it.
You need to go back there then.
I have to go back. I mean,
you are fired until you return.
I've been going through the story, right? So I haven't had that much time. So I barely just got through the story. So now I have to go back in every map. But it's hard to say like something's the best map when there's so many other good maps out there. Like
they're all good. I mean, we'll get there to talking about it. But that's the thing. I mean, I'm joking mostly.
I would say though that this map though I appreciated the most as the entrance to Cantha, because it's magical in the same way that so when I went to Japan, I spent some time on Miyajima Island, and this reminded me a lot of that. And it's just like
I need to go.
Very gorgeous, magical place that you just want to spend as much time as possible in.
Yeah, Boots, I agree. It feels magical. And that like parallel to even, you know, in Guild Wars 1 starting out on Xingje, of course, if you're nostalgic, I think that hits there. But even if this is your first experience, I think this map just resonates. Cat Island also deserves a shout out.
Yeah.
There's so many things. There's so much stuff I could yell about. Kroof, you brought up that island with the undead. I went over there and I was completely like, I couldn't even believe, I was so excited to see it, because like the corruption that happens there, the words they use, the creatures, again, it all reinforces that bit we know about Zaitan. And then up at the top, I was like, I wonder if I can get inside that lighthouse. And so I went up to the top and I wedged myself in between the things, and there was a fox box in there, and I was like,
ooh, I haven't started to scale it yet. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, maybe I should, and I was like, I'm gonna go do the meta.
Yeah, but
yeah,
all
the
the maps
good as well. Yeah.
All the maps have different things to discover like that. I love them all for different reasons, but this was a really strong start, definitely.
It is like it. Echovold is like I definitely like them all for different reasons. Like I think about Echovold and I think about like the crypt and I think about the other secret dungeons and stuff, and even the things I haven't found. Maybe I haven't spent enough time on them as of yet. I have map completed all of them. What I do before I move through story is I map complete. So I map complete so that I move to the next zone as the story goes. So like I've found all the secrets already. Well, not all the secrets, but like, you know, the little things where you have to get the point of interest, which is in a dungeon, which you're gonna find out, people, if you want to get map complete in Echo World Wild. Just saying. And they are very good. They're the story and characters that you will see again in this game. Beautiful. But this map specifically, and like you said, this maze was so good. Even just trying to work it out, I haven't killed the bosses because I was running around them on my own. And I forgot about the achievements and stuff. I just got absolutely decimated. And you can't just go in there and land because otherwise you die like straight away, and then just push you back to the entrance. But then I completely forgot about up north, like you said. And then the meta and how involved the meta is. Like you go from the town, from the city. Yeah, we can talk about that. And like you move north, and just all of the things. Like there is just so much that you can do, that you do in this, and the characters who lead you around, and I'm going to say something about this expansion, and it may be controversial, but this is the engineer expansion. Okay, it just is. It just.
Oh wait, I have
is.
a question about that actually.
Okay.
You know the spider cave?
Yes.
You know how you have to do a combo finisher to get into the hologram area?
Oh yeah.
Did you try on a Holosmith whether or not you could bypass that somehow?
No, I was a mechanist. Was that in the story? That was the story
That would be
thing,
really
right?
interesting.
Because they keep saying when they're explaining the combo field and why you need it, they keep saying it's because it's this Holosmith stuff that a Holosmith is able to make these, you know,
The holographic wall, yeah.
Holographic, exactly. So I'm always wondering, because I haven't played through on an engineer yet. I want to see if a Holosmith who knows that technology could bypass it on their own.
Maybe they can walk
just
through
apply
it.
light beam or something.
Yeah.
Just use their Holosmith.
That would be very, not only just class specific, but elite spec specific.
That would be another level.
Really detailed.
I feel like they should have, if that was a thing, they could have said to me as an engineer, like, if you change over to Holosmith, you can.
Well, they
you can
kept
do
saying
that.
Holosmith. You probably
Yeah,
should
I wish I'd tried to do that actually. Okay, let's get onto the meta. I'm not sure I started it on this specific case. I think I saw the meta was up, and then I was like, oh, I want to go there. Oh yeah, that's the boss killing me in the maze as I'm trying to 1v1 a champ in a completely new experience that I haven't had before. Here we go. Here's part of the meta anyway.
This is an inconsequential mention, and well, it's, you know what, actually it's the most crucial mention, and I do think it's important.
It went from didn't matter to
Yeah, I know, right? So he's the most important.
Look, this is the most
Very good.
important consideration in this entire meta, and I want to be really clear about that. The NPC that Bootsu got mistaken for earlier, Mr. Bots, is actually one of my favorite characters on this entire map, and that's all. It's very important, but also completely unimportant in general. But he makes me laugh a lot, and I really love him. He's very
Oh yeah, I
The
remember
mechs
him now.
in this expansion are so good. The Jade mechs have such a fun character to them. The one that
Yeah.
you fight as a hero point during the story.
Oh
was
yeah.
like,
it's-
Oh,
we will
what, in the
rise up
training
and take
area?
over.
yeah.
Just kidding. That was humor.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, that was
I don't know if
awesome.
that was humor.
It was like term, and I was like, yeah, I think I said at the time, I was like, yeah, I've been waiting for Skynet to take over for a long time.
Very Portal. What's her name in Portal? The
GLaDOS.
GLaDOS. Yeah, very GLaDOS.
But for this particular meta, I love this meta as the first meta event because it's not as much of a pushover that you would maybe learn
fail this
in the
still.
earlier game. But
I failed it on this one.
I did it my first time. The second time
fine.
I actually failed it because this meta is a great starter step for people being introduced into metas. And as you see in the trajectory of the other meta events going forward, this one is a great place to start to get your footing in large group content and also how to engage with multiple mechanics and ads at the same time. So this is a great area to start if you happen to be having difficulty in later maps, or if you just want to come and play this really fun meta event. The characterization with the boss, who's a scrapper, is awesome.
Yes!
I just want to point out the use of player skills that we fight.
Yes.
Fighting scrappers, fighting revenants, fighting these abilities that we would maybe only see in PvP instances and PvP encounters. It's such a nice
Thunderclaps.
direction.
And
It's
the
so much
spin as
fun.
well. Yeah, the second ability on Hammer and as a scrapper, reflects projectiles. And I was projectile, and I was like, why did I do that? I play this class. I know that I can't remember what it's called, Thingy Well. what's it called? I can't remember. It's like a Billy on Hammer on Scrapper.
Mini World.
Electro World.
I like that name, but like you know,
Electro
you
World.
can do a lot of damage as you spin, but you become basically like this ball which just reflects projectiles back. And yeah, you're right. Like there's a thunderclap in there as well, big thunderclap, and you've got the gyros that are bigger, and you have to kill the bulwark gyro. They're literally the gyros that the Scrapper uses. It is. Crew, thank you for reminding me about that. It was such a good time.
Now I want to fight a Chronomancer, and I want to fight a Reaper, and I want to fight.
Well, you fight a Mirage.
You
fight
don't
a
want to fight a Mirage.
No,
well, you already
Virtuoso.
fight the Mirage
Oh,
in
the
the,
method.
event.
Okay.
Yeah, the other event that happens.
yeah. I
But
think
you know
they're
when you have to
Virtuoso.
get. No. It's a
I'm
Mirage. You know the one event we did? There was me, you, and Rook, and we were in that event.
Yes,
That's a
they
Mirage.
do use some Mirage abilities, and that's another like little.
Yeah, sorry,
note.
that's another one.
It's
Oh
just
my
like,
god, it's so good.
It's just the actual mob design in this expansion, the different abilities as you go and encounter different tiers of enemies, it keeps it so exciting. I still have not had a dull moment playing in these maps because I'm just like, I'm fighting this Revenant, and then I fight the veteran version, and I'm like, oh my god, now there's ads, and then I fight the champion version, I'm like, oh my god, there's like mist orbs flying everywhere. You have to like learn and adapt and be on your toes. It's a great open world experience.
I just keep forgetting about every single. This is the thing about this map. There is so much to it. Like, and that meta I completely forgot was even in here, and the event that leads up to it, and also just the mini mechanics that come up as well. Like, there's the kind of force field. I don't know what to call them. Revolving things.
We all have been
Lasers.
We've all been wronged by a revolving door at one point in our lives, haven't we?
This happened a lot in this map. But like there was a specific part where you're fighting a boss and there's two avenues to go through to get to this point, and you have to go through these walls, and then it keeps porting past them, so you have to keep doing it. So you just keep seeing players running through these laser walls just dying, and I'm just like, my inner child is just like you know, it's just so good. And these little mini platforms that take you from each stage when the NPC gets onto them, and then there's other players as well, and you're all sitting on these little platforms and you're just flying around the map together to different areas of the map. And I'm just like, man, that's so good. That's not like any other meta in a game. Like, it's very unique.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Like you said, it feels like a really good introductory one, because I do feel like this one is not wildly overwhelming to any new players that may have jumped straight to this, right?
Yeah.
And then, like I was sort of touching on earlier, they iterate even off of the basic stuff that they've taught you, right? Like the break bar phases and all kinds of stuff in that arena, as well as in each phase of this. So like when you're going to these different regions to try and help sort of support, you'll see different things from these different enemy types. When you get to the point where you're kind of at that like crash site that's all gnarly, that has the platforms and it's like the squares light up, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, fight's good too.
While you're there, you'll see like the different bosses that again represent different classes, but you'll have like those panels that you're moving between. You'll have different things show up, some of even in parts of this, those little spinny walls and stuff like that. And then when you fight the final boss, it's like everything has culminated there. And so again, like I just can't say enough about the language of learning in this map, because I do think they do a really nice job of just like putting all these pieces together so that like if you go through this and you're experiencing it, I think like you do it once, things might go by in a blur, but like as you have that like reiteration of the mechanics that you've learned about, and then you're exploring it, like even if you are not a veteran player, it will still be challenging, but it is not impossible. And they've given you like every single tool to help you understand the breakdown of what's happening, which then becomes even more key when we look at like the end meta and stuff like that, right? It's a really beautiful progression, honestly.
God, I forgot about that one as well. Thank you.
Like here in this part here, as you're taking down the shields and stuff on the like turret that you have to destroy, you have the spinny walls around, so you're seeing those, you're learning what they are, you're fighting off these mobs, but again, this isn't like the final boss. It's a great like education.
They do that, right? They do that throughout the game in different points. They started doing that a while ago, but I think even more so now, like you say. I think that's a really good point to mention, that it's emphasized more, right? The teaching. This is why, and everyone talks about endgame and Guild Wars 2, and I will never forget when Crew said it, like back in one of those podcasts about meta being like the end game. No, because you were talking about the meta game being the end game. not metagame, sorry. Well, I mean, it is technically in every mode, but like the map metas and the world and the metas like in these maps, they're the content that everyone has access to easily, specifically. I mean, everyone can technically do it. Whether or not they pass it or fail it doesn't matter because they've still got access. It just depends about the access to the final reward, which we will talk about today. We know it's a pertinent subject and we do need to get onto that quite soon.
Really fast, I wanted to shout out because I know Nick Hernandez, who did a lot of work on this, has been chatting with us, and you might hear us referring to him. But Nick also called out Aaron Amschlinger, who did the writing with the meta and various parts of the meta, Paul Branch, Elijah Miller, who worked on the map as designers, Cameron Rich, who made the bosses for the maze that we were talking about earlier. So like, again, there are so many people that went into making these, and as you know, even people here have talked about, like, it's incredible to me. But one of the things that I've seen that's been so amazing is like on this map, and even today, this morning before this stream, we were running, and there were Arenanet employees on the map running a meta with us. Like, it's incredible. You may come into contact with people who made this game more than you think, and again, that is not ever an excuse to berate them, to contact them, to harass them, nothing like that. But it's something that is like incredibly wonderful to see, because you can tell that knowing your developers, knowing who has a hand in this, seeing them playing the game they have a hand in, it's so special. Like, it's such an incredible thing, because they really are out there themselves as well, experiencing this with all of us and enacting that feedback, which again, we will be talking about a lot with one of the final topics here on the podcast today.
Yes, indeed.
And as a quick note, about scaling of difficulty, they had discussed strike missions as a progression in difficulty, and I think the metas themselves are also an effort of progression of difficulty, which might not necessarily have been a message that was maybe understood by a lot of people, but playing through the metas now, I can say that each meta gets progressively a little bit more complex, which is why I kind of wanted to hone in, like, if you maybe are experiencing some extra challenge in the later moments of this expansion, definitely it is okay to go back to the first maps and, you know, pick up from there and take it as a process. That is totally fine. But great job on the maps, honestly, and the metas in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to go back to a point that I unfortunately missed, and I'm very, very sorry that I didn't pick up on this. It's probably one of the most important parts
of Tengu.
Well, I mean, it's almost, it's close to, but this is more of a look outfit thing, which is very, very important. When they introduced fishing, they gave you also the opportunity at different heart vendors, thank you, yes, I'm glad Boots is excited about this, to wear a fishing outfit. You can buy the hat and you can buy a chest piece for very limited money.
So these are individual. I haven't bought them yet.
Yes.
I've only seen people wear them.
Yes,
it's not an outfit. It's individual armor pieces.
It's individual armor pieces. It's not. It's in its skin pieces as well. So like you buy them as skins. And yeah, you can buy a hat.
I can live my life as a fisherman now.
There are
I don't have to.
fishing poles that you can
different
acquire.
fishing poles. Yeah, I've only got one so far.
There's also the super cute dragon scarf, which is my personal favorite.
Yes,
I love it.
It doesn't look great in a Surus, but I haven't tried it on other classes yet because it's small.
I mean, let's be real. You picked an Asura. What were you expecting?
Oh,
sorry.
Fire.
I can't hear you.
Well,
I believe you're cutting out, Kroof. I believe you're cutting out. Sorry.
Damn,
what's that?
Fired on the Asuras.
You're fired? What?
I've learned to appreciate Asura more. Not me being fired for the 15th time.
I mean, I may mean it this time. I'll let you can come back next week. Yes. Thank you. Awesome, Nick. Thank you very much.
This is incredibly important, and it does need to be said. Nick has canonized mine and Kroof's ship name, which is Roof.
I say Roof. I said Roof by accident just now. Yeah, it's still a thing. Yeah.
And we could say, like, you know, I don't know, like, I'm gonna just put out there our tagline, maybe like "Raise the Roof" or something. I don't know.
Raise the roof. Funnily enough, when I was first starting my streaming endeavors back in 2014, in the old Heart of the Mists, there was this roof that I happened to always log into and just be on, and then stream coined it the Kroof Roof. And then the Kroof Roof has since been
destroyed.
destroyed. So.
Oh no!
We don't, it doesn't
But
exist.
this
anymore.
is the
It's wearing
next
a different
evolution
list.
of the roof.
Yes,
happened
look,
with the roof?
the roof can never be destroyed if it's in our hearts.
The roof is on fire. I would rather prefer. I'd prefer that song reference actually. We don't need no water. Let them up.
Reading the dialogue in a dramatic Shakespearean recitement.
Yes, it was very good. It was very good. All right, I like this. Yeah, we'll accept it. I'll accept that as canon. I like that. Good
Okay.
ship name.
we need canon for the Lightbringers, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's important.
Speaking of
We've
cannons, you're fighting the
amazing
Aether
out.
Blade.
Yes. Yeah, the Aether Blades. But that fishing outfit is awesome. Awesome touch. There is some good touches throughout the story. You're able to also get access to armor pieces, whether or not you like it and it's your fashion desiredness, that is another thing altogether. But you get access to different skins in the game. Another thing that's been really good is which I don't think they've ever done before, is they've had sales for all the things in Guild Wars 2, like throughout as well, which has been really, really awesome.
Connor's here. Hello, Connor.
And Connor Fallon's there as well. Yeah.
Wow.
I am a
Hello.
fan of Connor's tweets.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
No.
Oh, are we
not there.
talking about
You know
the
what
city?
we're talking about.
Are we
Do you
talking
know
about the city? Are we talking about the city?
Hot. Did you notice that?
Yeah, where there's a little.
And I love what they did.
I don't have footage of it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Feel bad.
I think I had mentioned something.
I remember.
The exact thing that happens when you get to that location. I absolutely love it.
Oh, it's very good. We'll get there eventually. But I went there on
This is
a
just
whim
like,
and
I
I
hate
did cackle. I did cackle very hard. It really got me. It was good.
I loved it. But without Jebro here, we really got.
Oh yeah,
off
we
the
can talk
rails.
about the second map or the third map.
And
Let's
we can
talk
talk about
about
story
anything.
spoilers now.
Let's spoil
Because
everything
Dan, me,
here.
I'm just kidding.
Connor. Oh my gosh, I was reading Connor's name. I'm sorry, Jebro can't control us anymore.
That's
Jebro
right.
can't control us anymore.
Unleashed.
We are wild and free.
What would we do? Okay, let's think.
I can hear you the
no.
whole time. Okay, I'm just knocking on the wall to instruct that things are going on. We're gonna talk. They're just gonna get messy right here, all over the place. Okay, all over the stream, all over my brand new artwork. I mean, good lord.
I did not agree.
I like how
Whatever,
Aurora Peachy
please
starts
put the
raiding the
fist
stream,
away.
and just as that happens, I just start talking about absolute filth. I actually think.
I think
I
this is
think
my
it's
curse.
I think it's actually Aurora Peachy's fault. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think this is a curse.
No.
pretty sure
Aurora
it is.
Peachy has done nothing wrong in her
This is
entire
the
life.
second time.
We love her.
This is the
Don't
second
blame
time.
you.
Oh
when
no,
Aurora Peachy has
I'm
raided.
not saying this is a bad thing. I'm saying this is a good thing. Peachy's just
Oh,
undercover.
great. Okay, so it's
Like-
Snargle Gold Claw. So we are in the proper domain.
Great. We're
it's getting a
already
little
in.
spicy.
You want to
Sloppy
talk about?
Town, so let's do this.
You want to talk about Snuggle? Because this is probably one of my highlights of the entire game.
I haven't actually convened with Snargle yet. Am I
You
missing
do need
out?
to be fired again, unfortunately. Please pick up your pink slip. It is in the mail.
Can I at least get
Bring
the
it with you
check?
next week.
You're getting paid?
So wasn't supposed to say that. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, Snargle
sorry.
is one of my highlights of this entire game ever. And yes, he is incredible. And I think we should spend the rest of the podcast probably just talking about Snargle, even though I know we have other topics.
Can this
but,
podcast just be us reading Snargle Goldclaw novels?
That's what
That'll be a
was that the
different one.
pre-show or were we talking about the on-stream?
Hold on, I'm just gonna
Talking
pull
about
up some
stream.
Snargle
I can't remember
Goldclaw.
I
now.
love.
I do have to say that one of the things that has been giving me life recently has been specifically Morgan Lockhart talking about all the writing in the game, but particularly Snargle. And this particular tweet is one of my favorite things I think I've ever heard written, which is that Morgan said, "If my legacy is making every game I go to more queer, saucier, and putting all the characters through therapy, I will be happy."
Yes. Yeah. I saw you retweet that. I had to reply. I was like, if you need a therapist to confer with, I will be there. I will give you the lines. I'll give you the information. But you're right. There is Oh man, I don't know what it is about this expansion, but it's just it hits so differently in so many ways. Like
This expansion slaps.
The Ebonlaw Covenant by Snargle Woolclaw.
And if it's about Snargle, it might slap your cheeks.
I'm ready, Boots.
right, have you actually got it?
Could hardly comprehend what he just witnessed.
Ooh.
Suddenly, it all made sense. Why Smolder and Empress Jenny had been willing to forget years of hostilities. Why they suddenly spoke so positively about the potential of an alliance between Char and humans.
An alliance.
He clutched his mane as furious tears matted his cheeks. How could Smolder even look at Jenny that way? What about her furless figure could possibly appeal to rugged, tough, well-groomed Char such as they? Burn it all. The mouse didn't even have horns. Did no one appreciate the gentle curve of horns anymore? Smolder's place is by my side, as my ally, as my confidant, as my intimate, as my... No. Rude Legion would not stand for this, not if Runebanger had his way. And that was it.
Runebanger? Is that his name?
That's his
You
name,
heard
Runebanger.
He's called Runebanger?
Yes,
Yeah.
clearly.
Oh
What
my
else could
God, that's
possibly
amazing.
name him?
I'm trying to find the bit where I find them. Oh my God.
Wow, that was everything I needed and more in my life today.
Oh, I found the bit. Oh, do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear the word? Do you want to hear it on stream?
Sure, go for it.
Runebanger?
I found the bit of footage where I'm like,
Boots, you can't. I finally got to the point where I wasn't laughing about that nonstop.
I've got to say
I
that
also realize that
today.
there are new viewers to this stream that
Yes.
don't realize that was a callback.
It was an
and-
inside joke.
Yes, if you'd like to hear the full discussion on how much Jeb loves fists, go back in the VOD. Go back.
Everyone that has just come into the stream, as well as everyone who's listening, watching for the first time ever, there has been previously 40 episodes of the Lightbringers podcast. This is episode 41. If you have come here, we don't swear blatantly and everything else. There is many double entendres. There is or however you say that in a different way. Yeah. That's how we say it in England. There is many. There's much naughtiness discovered on this stream, basically. So I know you love it when I say that way. I know. I say double.
I love how British people like go halfway to trying to do French and then just stop.
I know, it's because there's just a natural order of things. I don't know why there's just this weird way that we can't talk properly sometimes. Like even though the English language comes from there, like we can't say it. Right, okay.
You talk wonderfully. I love hearing you say, especially
You
double
talk
entendre.
good.
I can't say it properly. It's because I'm one of my comedy songs with comedy shows, and they never say it properly. So I just got it from there. I learned my very early age language from a very, very bad TV show, which was bad.
Well, that's not bad. I learned most of my science at a young age from Magic School Bus.
So that's good, isn't it?
That's pretty decent, though. That's pretty good, Boots.
It's pretty nice. But yeah, welcome everyone that just came over. Also, like 20 people just left as I started to say double entendre, so I guess that's just a thing. And yeah, we have a very awesome podcast with 3 amazing guests. They are here probably the most consistently. Aurora Peachy's actually been on the first show, and then come 1 or 2 others as well since. So we've had some different people on here.
Yeah.
I want to get you back again.
Yeah.
Whenever Jebro kicks me off, someone else gets to kick
I never
my
kick you off. You just can't.
I like Teletubbies. Anyway,
Okay, there's Kippo, and we have indeed Snargle, and they're talking about the books and things. Now, this is the fanciest chart I've ever seen.
If you see Bonnie around, tell her
He is a beautiful icon. He is a legendary icon and creator and artiste. And his hair is just looking better than ever. His fur is just so well groomed and so beauteous. I love it.
Do you remember in the library here as well? There's a library, and there's someone signing books about Super Adventure Box. Have you found that yet?
That's his assistant who usurped him.
Yeah.
There is a whole story.
I completely
all of it.
forgot about all of this. But
drama.
like the fact that they're there signing books, like I was like, what? they've actually linked this back into the like everything, and I was just like, what? Like that actually? I was. Amazing.
I do have to ask all of you, because this is pretty crucial. What's your favorite Snuggle Gold Claw ship? Because I think there's one answer, and I know it, but I'm curious what yours might be. And it's okay if you don't know, and you're not.
I only know one.
Okay, and
It's Rylock and Logan, isn't it?
you're correct. That is the best one.
It is
You
the
are
best.
Is there a place where you can find all of them? Because I don't think I know them all.
I mean, you could read all the books.
Yeah.
Let's go back and look at them. No, but like, is there one?
Novels.
Are they?
The graphic novels.
Are they on like?
Just look
Thank
up
you, Rita.
Snuggle Gold Claw on the.
Is it on the
Yeah,
wiki?
They have all the
Wiki.
works.
If you did the collection initially, I believe you can go back to Eye of the North and read the ones
Okay.
you collected there in the bookshelf.
There's
I
over
got
20
Which we
books.
talked about that. I've tweeted about that library feature ages ago, and there's kind of a mini one in the game. I just need it like in a home instance where I can build a house and also put stuff in there.
I feel like I should do like ASMR readings of these books
You should. You definitely
Please,
should.
and tell me when it's happening. Thank you.
tonight.
So, oh my gosh, okay. I'll be there. I'll be there.
I actually think we should get our local Reader Geek to do that as well. It's something Reader
Oh,
does
also
on their
good.
Patreon, which is very,
we
very
did
awesome.
we did do dramatic readings of them when I first did the collection on
Oh.
stream, and I laughed so hard. I mean, Kroof, I very much am all about what you said, that I think we should do actual like staged, like
Yes.
we should dramatically read them as though this were like a really formal script reading. I think it would be the best. We could play different roles, and we'll consider this again for the future of the podcast or some other event to be determined. But Snargle and/or anything, any of these other little like nods in the zones, really are some of the highlights. You have to go find them, go look around. Like
Oh
there are
my
so many
God.
great NPCs, and his continuing presence in the game brings me glee and joy. And if you haven't actually done the collection originally, you get a title from it. Is it Romantic? I have that one on. I can't remember if it's romantic or if there's a different word. You get a title for doing all of the original romance novel collection, and it's very good. Yeah, Romantic. Yeah. Which is and has forever been since my title that I have on. So
This reminds
I have
me.
Prodigy of Xing
Oh.
because I'm exclusive.
Do you know now? I'm assuming people have played Elder Scrolls, right? This just reminds me of like the lusty Argonian maid. So
Why
hard.
was it not happy ending, Connor? Why was it not happy ending?
Oh my God, Connor.
Connor, we're gonna need a new one.
We're gonna need
a new
you to
one.
come back.
I would never tell you how to do this or what you should implement into this game, but I'm just saying.
By the way, yeah, Connor, were you also involved in the fishing mastery called Master Caster?
I really don't think it's that close. I'm sorry. I don't
Well, it's
think
not
it
close.
is.
I'm just. My point is that they made
Oh,
the
isn't it?
fishing mastery Master Caster to tell the audience that they understand that you could make puns
get
with
that.
the word master in fishing,
Yes.
but then did not go any further than that.
Yes.
I just
Maybe
think
it just
that-
flew over my head.
I mean, it
like
is
a
pretty.
tattoo.
What, you don't get the Master Caster thing? I mean,
No, like,
let's think
I
about the
didn't-
different things you can use with your
No,
fishing
yeah,
rod.
yeah. I got that.
The
but
line.
that's not where my mind first went, and I'm surprised because that's usually where I live.
Kroof, I'm a
That's
little
true,
concerned.
true.
Have you been feeling okay recently? You okay? Oh,
I think I
okay.
have to take a multivitamin.
Oh no. Well, yes, definitely get
Multivitamin.
vitamin
Oh, is
when
it?
that happens.
That's true. I've
Anyway.
got a vitamin D. I've got vitamin D.
All right, Jebro, take your vitamins. Get that vitamin D up in there.
Jebro, he's incorrigible.
Take that dose. Take that dose of D. What are some other things that we needed to talk about today? Because
Let's go talk about dragons.
for the first
Let's
time
talk about
ever, for the first time ever in this podcast, I will be the one to make us sail into cleaner,
Oh, Earth.
purer waters.
You do it pretty often. I think you should give
Oh,
yourself
thank
more
you,
credit.
Kroof. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No,
Kroof.
wait, hold on.
You should
There are
just take
cleaner
that pill
waters
without
ahead.
water.
There are cleaner waters ahead,
I
which
am
will lead to
dredging-
dirtiness.
I'm dredging us out of degeneracy, and I
Okay.
am sailing us into cleaner waters here.
Do we
All
want
right.
to talk about my Trin? because
Her
that is
presence on this
technically
map?
on this map. And
Oh my god.
yes, strike missions.
Ooh, I haven't
are
done the strike mission
right.
yet.
That is
That we're gonna do.
technically on the
We're gonna do a different show for strike missions, for sure. If that's what you wanted to talk about, I have not done them yet.
I'm not gonna, no spoilers, but they are so good.
Okay, they're good. All right, that's good. Well, that'll do. Let me just check my notage. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we talk about Dragon's Den? I just want to have a look quick. Oh yeah, the language. Something that was. Oh yeah, there we go. I noted specifically while I was playing it. Normally I write notes while I play for Guild Wars 2 content, but I ended very quickly because I just couldn't. I couldn't keep up. There was an event and they said arsehole in one of the events. Like
There's
it was
a
like
lot
there was a
of
lot of
ass
swearing.
bouncing around
yeah.
in this expansion.
There's
a
Nice.
lot of ass.
well, it's called the Ends of Dragons.
Oh, you got a point
Oh,
there.
that's
boo.
true.
Look, he's sleepy.
Oh my god.
He's sleepy dog.
Hey,
Sorry,
what?
Boots' dog has jumped up, and now this entire podcast is just about this, and that's what
That's
I
okay.
need
We
to have.
can acknowledge the dog. Acknowledge
no.
that.
But I mean, for all of our degeneracy aside, this was a little bit of a spicier expansion. I mean, even
Very.
the snargle dialogue and or some of the stuff that you overhear is like it's really up there. There's a lot of talk about how hard the trees are in Echo Vault, which is really a gem. It's very good. So yeah, it does seem like they were pushing a little bit more. It's not like this game has ever necessarily though been, I would say, puritanical in any, you know what I mean? But it does feel like we went a little bit harder on the humor and a little bit more intense on some of the other elements as well.
I mean, it's a teen game, and it was very much teen humor. I respected. There's also a character that pops up at the end, and she is very, very fun. No spoilers, but it's also very spicy.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like,
oh no, you can't
Girl
say.
Boss,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna say who it is, but like, Girl Boss, Gatekeep, and Gaslight. You better work.
There was a lot. I mean, I definitely feel like they've started to realize their audience a little bit more as we've gone on through the years as being a lot more adult. And I think because MMORPGs, I mean, I think a lot of the people who get into MMORPGs now are, I was going to say just adults, but it's actually adults and their kids. And like, so a lot of the time it's a lot of people's kids because they just love it so much and they want to share that experience. So there's a bit of a gap. But I think like it's almost to the point of Simpsons humor, where, you know, you can miss these things, and do you get older, you'll get it. And that's why I appreciate their humor, because it's that kind of level, and a bit like, I guess, kind of, kind of Simpsons-esque. Is there any, no Simpsons, no spoilers, please.
No Simpsons
chat.
allowed in chat.
If you get timed down something, it's nothing personal, it's just making sure peeps don't get spoilered. Before this, we're talking about the first map specifically. We're not talking massively about story. We'll maybe talk about story leading to the second map, but we've already gone for really a long time already, and I want to make sure we do this so we have Boots in the conversation as well. But we are going to be talking about Dragon's End unless anyone wants to talk about something
honestly, I have 15 minutes left, so honestly, if you guys want to talk about Dragon's End, I could do it. I don't feel the need to, though. Like, it was brought up when I was streaming.
We can talk about it for a short period.
Yeah.
I think
But like, if you guys want to go in depth with it, I'm all for it. Please do.
I'm not really.
Let's have a philosophical debate.
I think
the problem is, so like, I'm on tea time, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a lot, but now not so often.
Oh.
But
fired.
But like, it's something
sense.
that, I mean, that conversation is something that I've had so many times.
I know you have.
I haven't. I'm hungry.
You will not have that same conversation here, probably. I mean, it's a different group of people as well. I think like and I mean that respectfully. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, it's always good to have these discussions with different people, especially just our podcast as well. What we try to do here, I feel like it's different.
It's very level-headed. A lot of the times.
We're a bit more chill. I mean, we're more chill than most podcasts, but we're also more filthy as well. So we're like chill filth, So, what do you want me to? Am I being honest here? Yes.
Super chill, but definitely horny on main.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But no, I like Seaside. I watch Seaside. I'm like, I know a lot of people that go on there. I'm on there from time to time, so I don't have anything against it. But like, it's always good to get different.
The point is that I've had that conversation a lot.
I know.
And I'm like kind of a little bit done with that particular conversation.
That's okay. I get it. And it's a tough conversation to have. It is important because it's present right now, and I feel like we should talk about it a little bit. Just as like even if it's like a Lightbringers / point of view on it, which I think is good to have. So if you don't know and you're listening to the Lightbringers and you like don't want to be spoilered for a later map, for a later experience, and you're watching the stream as well, please exit because we will be talking about something which is happening later in the game, how you get access to potentially the turtle mount. As well as just some of the experiences later in the game, and maybe some negative experiences that people have had. So there is a little bit of that. I have done the event a few times with the lovely and amazing Feus as my commander, which has been just they are just amazing. And I didn't even know it was them the first time, to be honest. The event is wonderful. The main contention for a lot of people is the fact that they couldn't get a mount. I feel like that's basically the gist of everything. When, as gamers especially, and this I'll hark back onto my comment from this is 2022, and people are a little bit more maybe impatient. They want the things, they want the shiny. That plays a little bit into it as well as access, which is my main gripe with this. And I said this very early on, especially because the event isn't easy right now, and because the mount is a fun, fluffy thing. I think it's a fun. It's touted as one of the main things for the expansion, but it's really behind a wall that is not accessible. But they're changing it, which is fantastic. So that's already good. I also think that for the launch of a brand new expansion and then a brand new experience, which many people aren't even part of yet, that people got so irate about this, and the anger and frustration and the disrespect towards streamers, towards people in the map, the way people talk to each other, devs, Arenanet, forums, Reddit, because we all go to Reddit because that's so helpful, and like was just to a level where I was just like, wow, that we're there. Some people are really there, and but the problem is they've been there for a long time, and it was just. I think there was some different attitudes from content creators as well. There was some clashing there between different creators, which I think is fine. I think that just happens. People have their different opinions on things, and that's okay. I'm gonna say that part of me, I will always champion the person who can't get access to a thing. That's my where I come from for players, for people. That's what I'm thinking about, and also a little bit for myself. I don't really care about I care about getting the turtle, and I want to get it. I also like to experience challenge, and I like to experience working for something. That is my personal, unique outlook on things. But it's not that easy for everyone to do that. Some people don't have the accessibility to have that time to be able to do the thing. They don't have the 2 hours to do an event, or the minimum of 2 hours to do an event. They don't have they literally can't, they may have one hand, for example. They may have loads of stuff going on. Like one of my good friends, he plays with someone in our stream literally plays with a foot pedal or play with one hand. Like there's different things into this fight and this experience where I'm like, people just want to get on the damn mount and ride around with it with someone else. It's a 2-player mount. Just give them the flipping mount, for a way. But also there is another side where I'm like, I want to earn this outright, but you will be able to have that option in the future. What I want to know from all of you is just general feelings, because I'm rambling, because I'm very good at that. is that, you know, how do you feel about this? Like, how do you feel about the event for start? Like, what do you think about the actual encounter? Because I think that's an important thing to talk about, because I really flipping like it. I really like it.
It's so good.
There is so many good things about this. But let's talk about that first then. Let's talk about that first. Sorry I rambled, everyone that was listening. It's just a passionate thing, I think. Boots is like, yeah, I've read this 10 times. But like, let's talk about the actual event itself. Like, what was engaging and fun for you, everyone?
I echo many things that you've said, Jebro.
I'm sorry for my
well.
rambling.
But this was the meta that felt like a true group endeavor, where it required more than just grouping up sometimes, especially early days. I think this is also something that we have to keep in mind, that it just really turned 1 week old. So at the time, especially day 3, day 4, when more people were getting to that point, it really compelled people to at least talk more actively in chat and to say, hey, I can provide this boon, I can provide this boon, I can give you some heals. And maybe with people communicating at least at that level and setting squads a bit more intentionally than other meta events would, you know, allow you to just comfortably join and not go into that discussion. I liked this meta event for that reason. It felt like an elevated meta event that has not been seen in modern Guild Wars 2 for some time. I know there was more challenges in the past with Tequaddle and Triple Trouble, but it's been years since we've seen something that felt akin to that level. And I really appreciated this challenge. And I only did it 4 times. I got it on my 4th try. And I've had a really fun experience, I think, because I wasn't farming this. And I wasn't like bashing my body against this, which maybe could have been a reason why people had a less than a pleasant experience with this. So I took it that approach, and with that approach, I've had a really amazing time.
I tell everyone, so this was a lesson that I majorly learned when I was doing competitive Overwatch. You heard me. And I had so much fun trying to work for certain things or brackets or things like that. But I also found myself getting the most like truly twisted up and like just salty about stuff in a way that like I had never really experienced in video games before, because they had always been about joy for me, you know, like even when things were really hard or like I was really getting like, there were a few games I can think of where, you know, I rage quit because like maybe a boss was just too much or something. But it really wasn't until I started playing competitive in that particular game that I started to notice these cycles that affect us as gamers. And a lot of times this happens, especially in MMOs, where we have, again, time reward cycles that continue to go. So we have to be careful ourselves to realize when we are done and like when we need to take a break. And this is something that people like don't talk about a lot in regards to these games, right? And when it comes to stuff like this, but I find that, I mean, like you said, Kroof, if you are just like bashing your head against the wall on something, if you are every single time you run it, just compounding on this negative mindset of, oh, and this time we're probably going to fail again, and then you fail again, right? That narrative becomes so deeply ingrained in you that you go into everything already thinking 2 words into that. You go into everything thinking like, oh, and this time it's going to be terrible. And it's something that we have to keep our own eyes on, because I think it's easy to forget in these cycles why we play games in the first place. And to me, I just did this meta for the first time yesterday. I mean, I said earlier on Seitung that I couldn't remember the last time that in a game like a map had just struck me as like, I remember how incredible it was the first time I ever set my foot in a game and there was a whole world to explore. And coming into this last map, there's no other way they could have done this in a sense, because this is a culmination of 10 plus years of story. This is something that, I mean, Kroof, like you said, I think we need to see in the game that. And again, we have to remember that this is something we're going to be running for a very long time. So we have to, in our minds as well, keep this kind of timeline in mind. There's a lot of stuff that's going to have to be adjusted. But just as far as my first reactions went, I felt a delight in this meta. I loved it. The storytelling, the way that it culminates, the way that they tied together every single one of the dragons. I was running it today on stream, and I had people that have never shown interest in Guild Wars 2 who were like, what is this? And I went, it's Guild Wars 2. Like, I was like, play the game. It's amazing. Because, you know, we're on that last platform, the culmination of everything, the music, the way they use the tracks from all of the different expansions, the way that we're fighting these enemies that literally for years we have been learning how to deal with, the way that like you get those incredible voice lines at the end that are just like tearing through you. I hadn't seen until today the phase when you go into the orbs and then you're jumping on the things and the specters of those we've lost along the way speak to you. And I was just like overcome. So all of that to say, I think we have to remember that there are parts of our game that sometimes are bigger than us and our individual frustrations, and that sharing those, and especially for every new player that's walking into those maps, every new player that's coming in for the very first time and going, what is this? What did I just get caught up in? And then they have that moment where they go, this is Guild Wars 2. We make that moment. We make it as a community. We make it as the devs who create this game and put it out there for us. And the way that we react in those moments is what will make the difference between somebody falling in love with that this is Guild Wars 2 and saying it like, this is Guild Wars 2. This is the community. People are this mad. People are I don't know if I want to keep playing this game. I thought it was kind of cool.
That's the main problem. You're right. You're hitting. Oh, that's the main. That's, I think I forgot to even mention that. It's the main. It's one of the main things, because like if you think about Reddit and how many people do go to Reddit to look at the game community, especially for MMORPGs, because like you want to get a gist of sometimes the feeling and the general vibe, I will say, of like maybe a community sometimes, and Reddit is not a good reflection of this community whatsoever. I'm sorry. Like, whatever you think, it's just not. It's just not.
There are shining moments.
Of course.
And then a lot of times the compounding of frustration.
No. Yeah. And you're dead on, you know? I mean, and I think, you know, and the problem is that now there are videos talking about that very fact, and I think it's even advertising it more. And it's very interesting, you know, and they're getting thousands upon thousands of some of the most watched views on videos at the moment is how the community is reacting to this one thing that is just overshadowing might overshadow, the awesomeness that has come out from this expansion, which concerns me massively. I think it concerns all of us. It's a very good point. Yeah, true. Carry on. Sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, that's just really it. Like, there are viable critiques to be made about this, and they've already adjusted a lot of stuff in a way that I think is showing that they are really paying attention to this with nuance, right? Again, not like nerfing it into the ground, but adjusting how these rewards go. Even mentioning in the recent post that they are reconsidering how other rewards are paced and other things and like other possible rewards for this meta. So all of that is totally valid. And to the community's credit, of the 3 runs that I did, the first one I did was an abysmal salt fest, and I witnessed some of the worst behavior I have literally ever seen in this game. I mean, it was terrible. It was actually awful. It was reportable level. Like, it was really bad. The other 2 runs were fantastic. We had like a 10% or under wipe at the very end, but people were encouraging. They were talking about the mechanics. They were trying to like open the conversation. So again, we set the tone that we want to be in the games that we're in. So sorry, it's a long ramble here, but
you're right. You can't really put that enough. It's difficult to really round it up in like a minute or so, right?
But this did like put a spotlight on the great qualities about the community of people stepping up to lead and to say, hey, I have open spots. My arms are open for people to come and engage in this content in a way that they might have a higher chance of success. Yeah. I took a lot of umbrage and felt like a deep disappointment when that opening, that announcement of that we are trying to help people was met with very harsh personal attacks against people. And it does perplex me because this is an MMO, and I know that this is a game that has allowed people to be extremely comfortable with playing it in a more solo aspect, and that's great. But when you look at the game as a whole, this is one small percentage of content when you juxtapose it to the entire game of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So people are allowed to have a lot of enjoyment with this because it really is a rarity to see this in game. And I would understand if like Guild Wars 2 suddenly was an entirely hardcore game that was Dark Souls level from the jump. That would be very jarring. But as I had mentioned, this expansion really has set a progressive difficulty increase throughout its events, throughout its instances. And so I understand why this one was the most challenging. And that's why I really respected it. But it seems like people maybe tunnel visioned to that point without looking at the other, without looking at the entire scope of the product. And yeah, it just became really unfortunate. And I had like a moment on stream where I got kind of emotional just being like, I cannot believe that, like, from the things that I've heard from people, it was really surprising.
Hi.
With that said,
Oh, hi, welcome back.
welcome back.
Hey.
With that said, I do agree that I prefer to have the discussion of talking about mechanical balance rather than philosophy of hardcore elitism versus like toxic casualism and feeling like you are entitled to get something immediately, and then the clash between those groups.
That's the conversation that I've had way
Yeah.
too many times.
No, I mean, I think the
That's when
conversation.
you get into a
yeah.
spiral of like you're not going to
Yes.
win.
Well, the conversation should.
It boils down to be nice to each other.
Yeah, it's
Ultimately.
not that difficult, really. I know, and I think we do forget there is a willingness to forget that people aren't able to do things like other people are able to do, and that's a fine conversation to have. I think, like having that access, and it's partly to do with mechanics, but it's also people just not remembering. Like, I think one of the main things which really griped me was like, people don't have enough. Not playing a supportive builder. They don't have stacks of this and stacks of that. And it's like, people don't know how to do this stuff yet. I think patience is something where I'm like, wow, people just don't have patience anymore. Like, do we need to learn this? Should that be something?
It is an issue that, like, at this stage in the game, 10 years down the line, a lot of the player base doesn't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, but we've been talking on this podcast about new players, and this is the problem.
Yeah. But
so
it's not a problem that they don't know how to do it. It's an issue that they get to the end game and
no, I'm
expect
saying that
something
exactly.
to
That's
be-
what I'm saying. That
Right.
the problem isn't they don't know how to do it. The problem is that they need to do it.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to do
Ah,
It
okay,
is a
I understand.
progressive
Yeah, that
thing.
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, maybe more, and that can then lead to the mechanical kind of conversation of like, so what do we do to tell people that they should do this? I mean, other than maybe NPCs shouting it out, which I think they kind of
By playing the other metas.
do.
People didn't go. People have not. I don't believe people are running the other map metas as much as they are with Dragon's Stand.
They want the turtle.
They want the turtle.
That's what
those
they want.
those metas encourage you to move, to dodge, to do break bars, to really pay attention to positioning. But people, as I said, I feel like people kind of just went straight to endgame when they maybe weren't expecting it, and then when they were met with that, they got caught up in the whole moment and just kept going and going and going and didn't realize like maybe this isn't the time to try it.
I wonder what that decision was made to tie the turtle to. Can you imagine if that hadn't?
I like the turtle.
I mean,
being
I don't mind the
there.
turtle. I don't mind it being there. It just feels like,
Because if people are critiquing the reward system,
yeah,
the only one true like absolute best reward really is the final mount, the siege turtle. And I think it's smart that there is a silver lining. Even if you don't have the siege turtle, you can still interact with siege turtles and you get to partake in the gunner seat. So if it was like a solo
I guess so.
mount, that would feel maybe a bit more painful if there was like a really fast, it was a permanent flying mount. This is something that you'll see more of and be able to engage more of as time goes on.
I think it's difficult. Like, that's the thing, though. You want the thing. I'm sorry, you just do. Everyone does. They want the thing.
So
I'm sorry, Criff. I love your face, but
no,
like,
but people want the thing, but it's
I just want the thing.
I have seen Boots over here wanting to say
Sorry,
something.
Boots. Sorry.
I do have a question. So, does anybody know for certain whether or not there are any rare rewards, like a infusion or something, tied to the event?
I don't think an infusion, but I've seen like some back.
I know, like, but it's only been a couple of weeks, so it is possible that just nothing has dropped yet. But I'm guessing we're assuming that nothing's tied to it as of yet. So that might explain why they tied the turtle to it, because to say this is the big reward. But it's kind of short-sighted, because eventually people will have their turtles and then they won't want to repeat it because it's not for anything else.
They've said they're working on that. I think
I know they are.
Yeah. Which is good.
It is good.
It's difficult here because I can see the balancing act that went into this, right?
Yeah.
Given the actual zone itself and the thematic nature of it, the fact that the Jade Sea is traditionally where the Luxons were, this is where we encountered these kinds of turtles in Guild Wars 1 factions. This is where we've seen them used in this kind of way back in like Luxon society and how they kind of, I mean, gosh, it's actually one of my favorite parts of Guild Wars 1 when you go there and you see all the like houses and stuff that they've built on top of these huge turtles. Yeah. So like thematically, I understand why it's there and I understand why it's tied to this meta. And I think that maybe they felt like, you know, I mean, again, if something is slightly more difficult, anything that I think they would have put there that players really would have wanted would have led to this kind of conversation, if that makes sense. It is tough with the turtle in particular, because as we've talked about, it has been billed as like one of the big features of the expansion. And I think that, again, they've already said this and they're doing it. They're putting in an alternate way for you to get it, which is fantastic. They listened super quickly and they're implementing it. So again, I don't even think any of us need to like, this is not me saying to us, this is me saying to everyone, any of us like need to really worry about that element anymore, because I mean, again, it's something where it's going to be a null point when this goes through. It doesn't even matter. Yes. So it's like, to me, I think that it, you know, I do hope they increase rewards in the sense that, like, for that time investment, when you compare it to something like Drizzlewood, right, where it's broken up into those segments so that you can join for various parts. There's all the different achievements. There's the otter. There's all kinds of stuff that goes with it. So that if you join in and you're only on one part, you still feel like you get something. You still feel like, oh, hey, I made it. And if you stay for the whole thing, there's a ton of stuff you can work towards. You know what I mean? So I think that with them revisiting the rewards for this, seeing something a little bit more like that, where each of the phases gets their own kind of collection of rewards, you obviously have the buff, which makes a massive difference for the last boss. But again, that's something that a lot of players will not pick up on necessarily, unless people are saying, do all the events to get the buff. But if you have it broken up into sections, and then even if they added some kind of, and there might be, because I haven't looked yet, but if they added some kind of like longer term collection, something like the Memories of Otter or something like that, that could be tied to our final boss there. Again, I think that allows people to engage with it if they want and not engage with it if they don't. I think no matter what, people will probably still have their feelings and feel those about, you know, what's going on. But
you just, I think that goes back to what you said earlier, you know, about taking a break. Like, just like, I feel like people are still getting frustrated about this, and like, I want to say, like, I don't want to invalidate people's feelings, because that is something that could easily be done. But like, at the end of the day, go and do something else. Like, you have control over this, and sure, it may feel a little bit. I think there are processes in games which can feel like you need the thing and are sometimes predatory. I get that. But this is a place where you have control to, and I know that people may not have that control, and they may need to do that thing, and it's just something, it's like a focus, and that is where the frustration lies. So that frustration then spills out into other places, whether or not it's online, in your guild, in map chat, whatever, and they need to release that frustration. I would say, honestly, like, if you're gonna get mad, but think about your actions and where you're putting your rage, because your rage is yours. I don't want it. I'm pretty sure no one here wants it, and I'm pretty sure no one in map gives a fuck about it. So go and throw that in the bin. And like write a journal. Okay, I have resources to help you with your rage. I will give you those. I probably will make a command specifically for it. But I don't care about your rage. Like at the end of the day, like people don't want to hear it. It's toxic. And
I don't care that you broke your arm.
It just fills up negative space. Like we can be angry about things, but be critical and constructive with it. You know, turn that anger into something constructive. If you can do that, that's a really good, like critical, constructive, like criticism is very good skill to have. If you can learn that skill, if you go and learn it and like come back to the forums, devs, people in your community and do that and use that skill, like you're gonna grow as a fucking person. I'm telling you, like do it. But just try not to just be the change that you want to see in the world. That's all I'm gonna say. It's easy. Just don't be a dick as well. That's another one.
Like I said, it all boils down to don't be a dick.
It
Yes,
does.
you're right.
It does
Just
a
be
lot of the
nice
time.
to each other. Just calm down.
And I'm not talking about toxic niceness. Like there's all these phrases that people have for like people being overly nice and PMA. Like, you know, you can have a permanent positive mental attitude and not be toxic with that. Like it's not like people don't know what that is. They just don't like people being positive because they're not. Like it's just bollocks.
When the question about it was asked about everything, like when I was streaming when I was doing the last bit of the story on Tuesday, people were asking about the whole situation, and I guess I think I was being too flippant about it, but I essentially just said I think everybody's got to just chill out.
Yeah.
Because maybe I have too much faith in Arenanet, but when there's something this
that's
big,
not a bad
when
thing
there's
to
something
have.
this big and has too much that like touches too many players, I have faith that Arena is going to address it and fix it.
Especially now that they've communicated that they want to do that kind of stuff. And they have. You were fucking right.
At the end of the week,
You know?
they were even doing changes, so it's not like it was just dropped and left.
It just amazes me how some people can. I'm like you know, Rook. When you started talking about the competitive side, I've been like that for years. You know, I definitely still get that. I play Halo competitive now, and I still get that. Still get that rage. And I, you know, in PvP Guild Wars 2, watch my stream. Like I will get salty during the game. I'm not going to tell people though. I tell people we're on the stream, but like they're not in the game. And I'm just like, what? And I've changed that behavior over time because I've learned that, you know, what's the point?
I think it's one thing where we all have to look. Jeb, I liked what you said about like the idea of rage. That's your rage. That is yours to have and to own. And like, of course, there is a lot to be said about communicating and, you know, never bottling things up in a way. And like you said, journaling or venting it in different ways. But I just like, to me, I honestly think more than anything, it takes just a bit of a change of mindset. It's funny to me because I run metas. So this might just be me. I don't run metas, and when I start running them, half the time I don't even know what I'm gonna get from them. I'm gonna be real with everybody. I literally ran Drizzlewood. I ran Drizzlewood for like 3 weeks, and people were like, "Oh, you working for the Otter?" And I was like, "No,
What's that?"
And then I found out about the Otter collection, and I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, it probably would have been way more efficient if I had been."
I don't know what you're talking about. I actually don't even know what you're talking about. So yeah, and I've run it many times. I just like the event. Yeah.
There is this like bonus treasure hunting thing that you can uncover between the two maps where you follow this history about like, you know, searching out these treasures and the history of like Norn in the region. And then that leads you to discovering that there are little bits of Otter, the Norn spirit, that have still been they've been like scattered, right?
Cool.
So as you run the northern half of the map, if you have this collection all unlocked and you've done the little treasure hunting thing ahead of time, you get these little like tidbits of otter, and then when you get enough of them, it creates an infusion where otter will appear around you as like a full spirit.
Oh, that!
Again.
Oh, nice. When you said that, when you said little tidbits of otter, I was like, what? That sounds kind of dark. We just got little bits of otters everywhere that we collect.
It's
There's a little bit over there.
What it is though, but I mean, like all of that.
Oh, that's
great,
actually.
right? Like, I think we just have to change our mindset on things. To me, like a lot of people will be like, nobody will run these metas, and it is very possible. If there were no rewards, would people really want to do the time? It is something that is a question that has been asked so many times in MMOs. But there are players like myself and other players who just like to play games, and like. I just like to do these events. I think they're epic. I think it's so fun to work together. I think the music, the composition, the steps, the story, that thrill, the scale that Guild Wars 2 does with them is incredible. So I think that like what that means to me is that like not everybody will be motivated by these things like I am. But if we start changing,
But they damn well should be, Rook. Sorry, I'm joking.
If we start changing our own dialogues and the way that we perceive things, to not always have to think first and foremost about like what will this give me. Is it cool? Do you enjoy it? Are you having fun? Do you get this in any other game? Like, I think it's just about, again, it's about almost like changing those patterns of the way that we view stuff and engage with things. And when you get too frustrated, you step away. When you have a problem, you step away. And I think that's just a big lesson here. Also, Boots' dog is the cutest. And that's really the big takeaway from today.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you were pointing the camera at. Then, in all honesty, at first then I saw the dog and I was glad.
And if you're going to give feedback, talk about the mechanics. Talk about recommendations for changes.
Your opinions about players and like really like the thing is, a lot of people, and I saw some messages in chat, and I completely understand how you feel. You know, players aren't going to leave the game. Like players may leave the game because they don't like the rewards and stuff. If they want to do that, then honestly. Okay, what do you want to do? Like if they just are gonna play the game just for the rewards, I'm not sure that Guild Wars 2 maybe is gonna be the game for them, because I don't feel like, from what we've talked about today, and again, we all do enjoy games in different ways. Like Rook was saying, like we've all said, and yeah, sure, people do it for the rewards. They want the mount and stuff. They're gonna be able to get the mount in a different way. I think the continuance of it is something where, sure, just go with the frustration. That's okay, but you don't just. Maybe work it out somewhere else or with your friends or something. But I think, unless we got anything more pertinent to talk about that, I want to kind of end on I want to switch it around a little bit.
The music is so good.
And we can talk about the music for a moment if you want. I do realise that Boots definitely probably has to go very soon.
That was my positive ending, was just that the music is so good in the final match.
And we can do an outro. But I think generally, like just to sum up what we've talked about today, I think generally we have all enjoyed the experience of getting into launch of End of Dragon. This is pretty much what the stream's been about. Launch of End of Dragons, the initial experience getting into the map, the end game meta the end of map meta as well. Fishing is fantastic. There's lots to be. I think a lot of what we have seen in the first map is a good indicator of the future, actually, to be honest. I mean, it just is, because there's so many different things to go into. Honestly, that map could have been 2 or 3 maps, in all fairness. It could easily could have been 2 maps, could have been north and south. But I think it's good that they've got just as one map, because the scale is just so huge. It's great. It's fun. If you have not played End of Dragons yet, get it. Go and do it. Just based on the map alone, you'll have tons of time of experience. Like, tons of joy is waiting for you. If anyone wants to sum up their experience, go for it.
I was going to say, in the chat, the question is, End of Dragons worth getting? We've only talked about the first zone and the starting experience right here, but like, I feel very comfortable saying this. This is my opinion. Others will have theirs, but this is the best expansion I've ever played in Guild Wars 2. I mean, they have like straight up, this first zone alone comes out of the gate so hard. I was blown away and ecstatic for this team. There are a lot of discussions to be had about many different things, but we have seen so many patches even day one. We've seen so many tweaks. There's so many moving parts. There's so much happening in this expansion, and it is phenomenal. It is something that has made me more excited, more hopeful, and more just enthused about this game that I think even when I started playing it, which is pretty wild. Like,
Yeah.
I love this game, but I didn't even realize that it could go up a whole nother level. And gosh, even just from this first zone alone, like I said, I spent 2 days there doing nothing but exploring it, and I still feel like I have things to discover that I haven't seen yet on there. I know there are certain NPCs I still haven't seen. I know there are places I still haven't been or done things in. And if that isn't a testament to the experience of this, let alone all the other content that I think really stands up to par with it, then I don't know what is. End of Dragons is, I really think, the future of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
End of Dragons is my favorite Guild Wars 2 expansion that they have released. If I were to give it a score, I'd probably be like 9.2 out of 10. The only reason is I wish there were more strike missions because I love those strike missions so much. If this is the future of Endgame with strike missions, I don't
need to
raids.
play them now.
I don't need raids. I don't think any of us need raids with the quality of these strike missions. And I think oh no, 100%. And with the coming weeks and the months, that score might even increase with more endgame with strike missions, refinements of metas, more rewards. But I think this is my personal favorite expansion that they've ever done.
Nice.
I agree.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I've so far only been able to do the story and experience some of the maps. But yeah, the story is the best of Guild Wars 2 so far. The music is fantastic. I just love listening to the intro screen, the character select screen over and over again. And just the maps are so insanely gorgeous. I'm so happy to be back in Cantha. Yeah, I just can't wait to get back in there and experience more of it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've personally, I've got so much going on right now that I've just not been able to play as much as I wanted to. So I'm looking forward to life being quieting a little bit down on all the other stuff that's going on to get a little bit easier, so I can just fully immerse myself in the things. Yeah, it's a great expansion. If you want to get it, there will be a link in the description on YouTube for people's partner links, so if you want to go and support them, that would be massively appreciated if you do go and buy it. If you've got friends, family, dogs, cats, pet snails maybe that are interested in End of Dragons, make sure you give them the link. I'm not sure how a snail would access it or play it, but I want to make sure that they have that opportunity. Anyway, yes, enjoyed it. We've still got loads to talk about, and we'll be here. And honestly, I feel like I may want to space this out a little bit more and mix it up with a playthrough, like maybe even next week, because I really feel like, I mean, we'll definitely do a stray mission, but I don't know if, and I'll talk to the fellow Lightbringing people. I think genuinely having some running around the maps and playing them might be quite good as well. We do enjoy talking. We'll have this conversation anyway. We're going to do an outro, peeps. Thank you so much for watching Lightbringers, episode 1 of season 2. Again, thanks to Gears to Gnomes for making amazing, awesome artwork that has just brightened all of our days. Absolutely. We're going to do an outro. Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it. We didn't do an intro, actually.
I know, I was going to call you out on that, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
We've been here for long enough. Hi, I'm Kroof. I do a lot of YouTube stuff. I have a Guild Wars 2 cup. I get one.
You haven't gone to show that off much, sorry.
It's fine. I was going to do it for the intro, but I might as well do it for the outro.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of videos about End of Dragons. I have a map overview. I have 2, actually after this, I'm going to make my 3rd guide and overview for 3 of the strike missions. That's
Nice.
going up. More reviews about the story. I'm going to start doing elite spec builds here in a bit. And yeah, lots of YouTube content coming every day. Yay!
Cool. Love it. Boots. That's what you do. What you do.
You find me on World of Enders on YouTube, or perfect timing. Boots _ on Twitch, or World Avengers on Twitter, and I do the YouTube and all those other things as well. I'll be making Bootspad builds soon enough. Don't worry.
Amazing.
I can't wait. Get ready for that good fist build for Jebro.
Oh yeah.
It's called the good fist build. Is that what it's called?
It's
Yeah,
better than
Reese
bad
is
fist.
like, I do have to go very soon. Rook as well. Tell us what you do, how you do it. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, hello everybody, I'm Rook, aka Rookery, Rookuri. You can pretty much find me everywhere under that. So I stream here on Twitch, usually on my own channel a couple times a week, and then on 2 other podcasts, Lightbringers podcast, obviously, and Aetherite Radio, which is a Final Fantasy XIV podcast. I am also over on YouTube, also Rookery over there, and if you're curious about the pre-show that I did, along with the new Canthan history segment that was added before the launch day live stream, you can find that up there now. So if you want to get all that information and like a good rundown in 20 minutes of Canthan history, it's marked in that video. And
Nice.
like I said, there's so much that they have actually included directly from everything else that's been in the game, and I really have found it helped me even as I was going through the expansion to have recapped that and to have had a chance to compile it and write it. So that was awesome. So check that out if you haven't yet. It was a great opportunity. Otherwise, you can find me all over. We've been doing some other stuff too, some casting, keep an eye out on the feeds, all that good stuff. But wherever you are, we're just happy to see you and to meet you, no matter what platform.
Amazing. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I am Jebro, twitch.tv/Jebro Unity. Every week at the moment, Lightbringers is going to be on. So we'll be here next week. We may have another guest. We don't know yet. We'll see who comes along. We'll see who can return and who's fired. So thank you very much for watching the first episode of season 2 of new artwork, all the things. A new expansion for us all to enjoy. And please, again, a final message: if you do have something bad to say about people or the game or anything else, maybe do it somewhere else, or think about your actions before you treat people inappropriately or badly or anything. Otherwise, I'll come find you and I'll throw my pet snail at you. Jeffrey. Twitch.tv says
note to go out on, but I mean, all right, Jebro. Yeah, no.
I will find you
Nice
and
to
I
each
will
other.
snail you. I don't know what that means. Please go and follow my friends here who will stream during the week at various points in time, as well as producing awesome content on YouTube. And yeah, if you do want to support me, subscriptions, following, all the things massively helps as I'm going through my own internship as a mental health counselor as well, peeps. I will see you soon on another stream. Otherwise, waving can commence. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I need to play out with the best tunes. Bye again. Awesome artwork. Do your thing now.